is Whataburger Friday Night Stars, presented by Game On Sports, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. Here's Kyle Yeomans, Zach Walchuk, Eric Chiafalo, and Heckma Harrison.
Semifinals, the regional semifinals are here. How about Frisco, Reedy, Foskey, baby. Where's the hot dog? How about this one? 46 yards. Carthage down early. No longer. They're back in the ball game thanks to this. They do trail at halftime, by the way. And then we go from the Star. How about Will Bowers, Apogee Stadium, 26-yard pass.
So easy.
Looking like Mason Fine out there.
Man, look at how that green. And then back to the Star Heritage.
Trickery.
How about the halfback pass? Off balance, and Sony tracks the foot. We're back here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. The top 4 plays throughout the night thus far, and we've got plenty more to come.
Overtime.
Here in overtime. We're here until 11 o'clock.
Because of these weather delays, brother.
Oh, good. You know, I'm glad you brought that up because
they're killing us this year.
I wasn't here last week to say it wasn't going to rain.
Heckma, I blame you. God. You had to be glamping out there in Oklahoma.
That's what happened.
No, but the least you could have done is send us a video.
Could have said on the video, the weather will be terrible, and it would have been sunny and clear.
Yep.
Well, not sunny, but clear skies.
I'm pretty upset about that now. But with that being said, let's take a look at the radar. Thanks to the laptop fan cam that I've got up in front of me right now. This is what we're looking at in terms of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're right up toward kind of the top. You can see Frisco. It has not hit here yet. We have not seen a drop of rain, much as Plano, McKinney, some of those northern cities or suburbs, I should say, of the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
But it's coming.
It's going to come. And right now, Denton getting hit like a monsoon. That was a text message I got from Ashley Pickle earlier. Her and Mallory Hartley are up in Denton. So is Gavin Dunaway, who's up at Argyle and Salina right now. That's at Denton ISD Stadium. And that game, he said hail was coming down. So for those of you out at games and maybe watching us, I hope you're watching us in the concourse, being able to keep up with everything. We'll give you updates. We'll let you know around the area what's going on for these regional semifinals. But at the same time, please stay safe on the roads and driving around in the area as well. But guys, a lot of storylines to talk about right now. And we had 2 hours to kind of digest this since we were last on air. But I want to start out with just talking about some of the top stories other than the weather in terms of specific games. What do you have your eye on? What are you looking at right now? What has surprised you out of the North Texas area? Zach, you're giving me a look. It looks like you're ready to talk about something.
Oh, he's feeling good.
Man.
Oh, Zach's feeling so good.
Oh, he's feeling good.
This guy right here.
Well, I'm feeling good. That's not the game that I was going to bring up. Somebody
Really?
else can bring that game up. But it's a close game. Midlothian Heritage up 28-21 on Carthage. You know,
okay.
Midlothian Heritage, a team that I'm very fond of. But to me, the biggest surprise right now has got to be Salina up on Argyle. Mm-hmm. You know, we know this was probably going to be a much closer contest in the first meeting 3 weeks ago, but to be up right now in that game is in a weather delay. I believe it's 14-3 Salina. We talked about it in the preview. It was all about Logan Point. You know, Logan Point is the guy offensively that makes Salina go. He was held to just 21 yards rushing in that meeting in the regular season. He came out, first touchdown, 22-yard run for Salina. And they're now up 14-3. That game, I do believe, is also in a weather delay. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
What time is it, though?
What do you mean, what time is it?
Is it
I think
Salina time?
Well, it's Salina time. Apparently, it's Salina time. They get into the postseason, it's Salina time. And maybe Coach Bill Elliott, who basically called out Argyle and said, this team's peaked, and we're just trying to get and reach our potential and improve. Argyle's not improving.
Coach Elliott said everything beside these guys suck. Yeah. He just put it out there like that.
And his team responded. I mean, and credit to them. Your coach puts up some bulletin board material against a team that you think
you got to back him up.
Absolutely,
and they have so far.
Did.
They absolutely have
so far.
Argyle, no doubt, has the firepower to come on back in this one, and the weather for them. They still have an outstanding running back in Tito Bai. So far from over, but we'll see. Hopefully, we can get that game underway soon, depending on the weather.
And you know, one team that's looking at this Salina score and is licking their chops a little bit, and that's La Vega.
Oh,
They're
no
looking
doubt.
at this, and I know there's been some trash talk between La Vega and Argyle, and of course, if you're La Vega, you're probably looking at Argyle and saying, "We want you this time because we didn't get a chance we didn't take care of business the first time around. We want to take care of business when it really counts in the playoffs.
Salina might beat you to the punch, guys.
Salina, you're exactly right.
You don't want to mess with Salina time.
No,
absolutely
by no
not.
means. So
Kenny Chesney's in the building, man. It's fireworks.
Okay, I got you. Eric, any other games you're looking at?
Certainly. Well, I want to just give a shout out to Foskey and Reedy because they're up 20-7 right now, middle of the third quarter on a Centennial team that we know is a good football team, and Reedy's just continues their dominance, and then Southlake, very, very consistent this year, flying a little bit under the radar, but been absolutely dominant most of the season. And tonight they're up 21-7 on Trinity. I know it's a monsoon and that weather can end up changing things in the second half, but Trinity not being able to stop Will Bowers through the air. We talk about Will Bowers on the ground very often. Bowers doing it through the air tonight. 2 touchdown passes. Credit to him and credit to Southlake for getting rolling early.
I tell you, the game I'm looking at is obviously the South Oak Cliff Alito game where Alito.
That's my hood.
Yeah, Alito's not my hood. However,
South Oak Cliff.
Yeah, Alito took the kickoff from the beginning and just literally. First quarter, first possession, went right down the field and scored on South Oak Cliff. No team has done that all year, and Alito gave them a big old slap in the face. It took South Oak Cliff about a quarter and a half to finally get on the board, and they did. They tied it up, and right before halftime, South Oak Cliff muffs a punt on their 15, 17-yard line, and the rest is all history. Alito went down, scored again, 14-7 halftime. But the thing is, where everyone was looking for Chase McClellan to go in and be running all over the Bears, the Bearcats have done everything in the air. Everything's been the JoJo Earl.
JoJo Earl's the real deal, man. I tried to tell y'all, that sophomore receiver, we have some fun coming up the next 2 years for that young man.
It is a shame, though, for South Oak Cliff. You come out there and you shoot yourselves in the foot early in the game. You're unable to, you have it down near the goal line. You can't get the touchdown. You settle for 3. You miss the field goal. It's things like that you just can't have happen. They're fortunate to honestly only be down by 7. They got to be feeling pretty good about that right now.
I think you're exactly right. You look at this as an opportunity if you're South Oak Cliff with the mistakes, with the turnovers. If you're only down by 7 against a team like Alito, you got a chance.
And you get the ball coming out of halftime, go down and
thing.
score.
That's
you know
a
what I'm
great
saying?
point.
Tie this game up. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, they're
right
in more than a good position. This is probably the most contested game Alito's played since the state championship a year ago. And this is a team that their starters don't play in the fourth quarter. And that's become a tradition in Alito. They beat teams so bad, their starters are out for the fourth quarter. Their second units get to play. Now, they're in a ball game with Sock. I mean, South Oak Cliff is hanging in there. So credit to the Golden Bears.
And did we really expect this to be any kind of blowout by
No.
any means? I don't think so. I
think we respected that Sock D too much.
I think so too. And I'm not surprised to see this with a close game going into the second half, but I am impressed the fact that the mistakes have been there and it's still only a 1-score game.
Let me say this, and we were talking about this a little bit before we started here, is that the more dynamic teams, you see what they do where you think throughout the season they're a run-heavy team, and then they get into the playoffs and they show you a whole nother fold. Alito's doing this right now because everyone throughout the regular season has been saying, look, it's Chase McClellan that's making the difference. I don't ever recall hearing this kid's name as far as in the passing game, but today he is dominating the first half.
Yeah, he's a three-way player. I mean, the dude is pretty good in pass pro. He can catch the football in the backfield. They just haven't needed him to do it. So that, certainly for Alito, they've got a guy who is a multi-tool player. Go ahead and get the most of them. When you're playing against an opponent like South Oak Cliff that has such an aggressive, fast defense, without a doubt the fastest team that Alito's played all year long, you've got to find a way to utilize your talent to the best of their abilities. Yeah. Credit that coaching staff, getting him out in space.
Getting him out in space is definitely important with that one. But looking at some of the games around the area that are in the middle of a delay, you've got the game up in Apogee, you've got the game in Denton. There's lots of games there, but let's start going through the games, even though a lot of them are still being delayed. Let's start with that one in Apogee, Trinity versus South Lake Carroll, as we look at 6A Division I, Region I throughout the Texas High School Football Playoffs and the state regional semifinals. But Trinity in that ball game, close early, 7-7, but right now Carroll leads that one 21-7 at halftime. And like we talked about, the Haka in full effect at Apogee Stadium, and since then a monsoon has since taken over, guys.
Yeah, and Will Bowers has really stepped up to the occasion. Now, before it became a monsoon out there, he was wheeling and dealing. They got 297 yards in the first half, and 231 of them are through the air. Will Bowers, 17 of 19, very, very efficient. And that's what we said about Southlake coming in. Is I don't know if Trinity, they can only run the ball, and Southlake's defense usually does a good job. If you come into a game relatively one-dimensional, Southlake's defense very good enough to stop you. And their offense, they can not only can they run the ball, and we know it with McDaniel and Bowers, but Bowers can get it done through the air. That's the one thing Trinity can't really do, and Bowers showed it in the first half. He was out there wheeling and dealing, 2 touchdowns already, and TJ McDaniel's doing fine, 60 yards, and he's got a touchdown as well, but they've done it mostly through the air. Like Heckma said, some of these teams that, that maybe they run all season, but they're good enough to once they get to the playoffs, they'll show you a little something else, and Bowers is absolutely showing that tonight.
And you're seeing Trinity push the ball down the field a little bit more than I thought that they'd have success doing against Southlake right here. A couple of plays. There's that TJ McDaniel touchdown run to make it 21-7, but absolutely, I think the story of that half has to be Will Bowers and his arm finding guys like R.J. Mickens to start things off. R.J. Mickens, this dude is unreal. Is there anything that he can't do? Receiver, corner, safety. Him and Jonathan McGill might be 2 of the greatest all-around players we've got in this area. You literally can put those guys in any position on the field, and they're probably the best player on their team at that spot.
And he has a good bloodline, too, for football. So, it's not surprising that he is pretty good.
He's great.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable so far. 297 total yards and 231 of those. I love what you're talking about. Bowers having to throw the ball a little bit more than really we thought going into the game, and that's a good point.
I just want to say, man, with all of the great quarterbacks that we have, Will Bowers, something has to be said about the fact this kid hadn't thrown an interception.
That's true.
All season long. That's incredible.
Yeah, that is
impressive.
incredible. That absolutely is quite the statement. To go through the gauntlet that they've got, and they're in a pretty competitive district as well. So, to not throw a pick, that's impressive.
Well, and also to have the ability to go up and put numbers up like that, almost 300 yards of passing in the first half of a football game. He can put up those numbers, but when I think of Will Bowers, I think of 2 words: game manager, because he gets the job done, takes care of the football, and he's able to really kind of make others around him better, which makes him a better football player in general, because if you're making others better, you're doing pretty well yourself. But if the need is there, like you said, Eric, he's able to do that. And I think he's been an X factor in this football game, something that you as Trinity just can't necessarily keep up with. On the other side of that Region 1 bracket, though, we've got Arlington, Lamar, and Duncanville. This is another one of those games that is in the middle of a lightning delay. This one being played at Vernon Newsom Stadium down in Mansfield. Duncanville, however, 14-6. Good football game right now, and in the middle of a lightning delay with 12 seconds left in the first half. So Duncanville does have the football on the 49-yard line. They did get the football to start the game, so they will get it back, or Lamar will get it back to start the second half.
Yeah, Lamar's, at the beginning of the first half, I believe it was 7-6 for a very long time. And I think we were talking about him like, wow, why is Duncanville making these games so interesting in the first half? The last couple of weeks, they've started very slow for some reason, whereas on other teams, they're typically by halftime, they're up by 30 points. I guess that's indicative of how tough the playoffs are. There aren't any knockover teams at this point. So Duncanville, what they've been doing all season is third, fourth quarter domination.
And a quick correction, Duncanville actually gets the ball to start the second half because they kicked off to start it. Lamar started things off with the field goal early, and Duncanville will get the ball in that second half. But like you talked about, no easy games, and that's kind of what we talked about in the pre-show was Lamar is no slouch. This is going to be a tough test for this Duncanville team. They match up well.
But the Duncanville defense stepped up when it mattered most. They allow Lamar to get good drives going, then they get down into the red zone, and they force field goals. And that's something that Lamar is going to have to be able to find a way to get touchdowns, but that's just a testament to the Duncanville defense, even though, and that's a Lamar team that we know in an offense that is really explosive. Jack Dawson, we know about their running back. Zach, you were talking about him in the pregame show. These guys put up points. So the fact that they move the ball against you, they work down the field to get down to the red zone, and then you tighten up and hold them to 3 both times, that shows that this Duncanville Panther defense they really are the real deal. And against South Grand Prairie in the first game, they gave up 14 points early in the game. Second half, shut them out.
Yeah, just a bit of a sluggish start. That's kind of been the theme for Duncanville, and the fact that they've turned the ball over already. They forced Jack Dawson into an interception, and we know as great as Jack Dawson is, he's susceptible to the interception. He had 4 touchdowns, but 3 picks a week ago in their win in the area round to get to this point.
That's really the story of the first half, is the turnover and then the red zone defense of Duncanville.
Yeah, the red zone defense of Duncanville. Really, the defense in general of Duncanville has been incredible all year, and seeing the 6 points that early maybe was a little bit worrisome, but I would not be surprised if you see a goose egg in the third and fourth quarter.
No,
That's how good that defense
to hold
has
Lamar
been.
to 6 points, it's outstanding. That's
That would be
an
incredible.
electrifying defense. And Jaquindon Jackson's doing it with his legs. I mean, that's really been the key.
That's huge.
An athlete can really do whatever you want, but with his legs is where he's most dangerous.
Yeah, he's dangerous regardless, but the legs definitely playing a factor. Allen versus the Woodlands. Let's go down to 6A Division I Region 2. These games are both tomorrow, but we just want to take a quick look at it. We talked about it at length in the pre-show, so we'll just kind of look at the bracket here overall. But the Allen team, of course, we know about Allen up at the top versus the Woodlands, McLean Stadium tomorrow, then at Kyle Field, Waco Midway, and Klein Oak. This is on the other side of the bracket from that Trinity, South Lake Carroll, Arlington, Lamar, Duncanville, which by no means has been decided so far. But we talked about the gauntlet of what a schedule was up at the top of the schedule. This isn't any easier by any means toward the bottom half of the left side of that 6A Division I bracket, guys.
Well, comparable, it's not as hard. But, like we talked about in the earlier show, that it looked like Allen was going to be just kind of have the ability to coast in the playoffs. And the Woodlands is a formidable opponent. And obviously, the winner of the Waco Midway and Klein Oak is going to be a formidable opponent as well. But look, it's all about the Allen Eagle offense and what they've been able to accomplish, and I don't see anyone getting in the way of what they've been doing already.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Allen and how good they've been in recent years, they're riding that 28-game winning streak right now. Overall, man, since 2013, this team's 88-2. They've been absolutely dominant.
That is a phenomenal stat.
It's crazy how good they've been, and the last team to beat them was the Woodlands. So, the Woodlands has done it before. I just think this is a much different team than their 2016 version. I don't know if they'll be able to have as much success offensively. Their defense might be a little bit better, but Allen just can beat you in so many different ways. And when you think about the 3-year stretch with Kyler Murray, who's now done sensational things for Oklahoma and is 1 year starting there.
Walchuk's guy.
And how good that Allen was. This might be the best Allen team.
That's saying a lot.
It really might be. When you look at a complete football team, I don't know that Grant Tisdale's better than what Kyler Murray was. Kyler Murray is one of the best high school football players, I think, in Texas high school football history. But Grant Tisdale is exceptional. I think Theo Weiss is better than any receiver that Allen had in their during this run. And their defense is stout. That defensive line is mean. They get after it. They rush the passer. They're good against the run. Jaden Jernigan is the real deal. I believe he's going to Oklahoma State. So, I mean, you look at it, there's a reason Allen's ranked nationally number 1 in the country, not just in Texas, number 1 in the country. So the Woodlands has their hands full tomorrow afternoon.
They absolutely do, and with Allen coming in with a chip on their shoulder, is never. It's like, holy smokes! Really, Allen's got more juice coming into this game, more than they usually even have, and their offense is so good, their defense is incredible. But this Woodlands team's put up 50 points in each of the last 3 games, so their offense is coming together a little more, but they do win with their defense. Unfortunately, Allen's offense is just as good as it gets. What is it, Law and Order? Or the law office?
The law firm.
The law firm. That's what
the
it
law
was.
firm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
There you go. Heck, man, you've got some incredible nicknames. The law firm
You
versus
just
the
ask for
Duffel
one.
Bag Boys.
I got one for you, Joe. You gotta do is ask for it. I got it on.
I don't know-
He'll
I
pull
don't
a
know if
rabbit
I
out of the
wanna
hat.
ask. I don't know if I want to ask for one. For
Oh, you
myself.
want for you?
I got one for you.
Is it good?
I'll tell you off air.
Okay, that's good.
It's not.
Tell me in the middle of the break. Oh, gosh.
You don't wanna hear it.
Now I'm scared. Okay, let's go to 6A Division II really quickly. Not a whole lot of games tonight, but we'll look at the Saturday slate, and then we'll turn back around and look at one of the games that is in progress as of the moment. Starting with Division II Region 1, you look at Haltom and Hebron. That game is tomorrow at Apogee Stadium. And then Tascosa and Lake Ridge. Out of these 2 games, guys, do you see anybody emerging from this region that has a chance to really make some noise in that Division II ranks?
I'm a big fan of Lake Ridge.
You really are?
I really like Lake Ridge with Chandler Rogers. I mean, look, when you look at them having moved up, and we talked about that, one of the first schools, only 3 schools since 2010 to go up a classification and get 3 rounds deep in the playoffs. They've got a quarterback that's as good as anybody in terms of all-around talent, running and passing. They've got several receivers, Keelan Johnson getting the job done. They can run the football, and they've played. I mean, you look at their schedule. They've beaten a who's who of opponents this year. So, you look, Lake Ridge, they've seen the best. They've defeated the best. That's a Mansfield Lake Ridge team that any given Friday, Saturday, Thursday, they can beat anybody. But that Amarillo-Tascosa team, especially defensively, they've got a ball-hawking secondary that picked up. They intercepted Jahari Rogers 3 times in the first 3 possessions. So if Mansfield Lake Ridge can go ahead, and they have not turned the ball over yet this postseason, if they can continue that, not turning the football over, I think they should be able to beat this Amarillo-Tascosa team. Not with ease, but I think with a little bit of cushion there. I think they're just a better, more explosive football team. But yeah, look, that's a heck of a matchup right there when you look at King Dory running the football, Joseph Plunk, a good run team in Amarillo-Tascosa. But I'm a fan of Lake Ridge, man. And that Holtham-Hebron game, we talked about the individual playmakers in that one. I know Heckma, big fan of Michael Black, Trajan Bridges. All of us think that he's one of the best players in the area. That's a Hebron team that's very explosive as well, getting hot at the right time. And Holtham, I mean, they're a Cinderella team. I don't think anybody that's a fan of Texas high school football isn't pulling for Holtham unless you're just a fan of the teams they're playing.
Yeah, Mansfield Lake Ridge definitely made a bleep on the radar when they beat DeSoto and with that last-minute touchdown. I mean, it is just – and they have been on a complete tear. Now, again, you go back to Chandler Rogers and what he's been able to do, but I think – the guy that you really want to look at for this game just to see, making a difference is DeJuan Jackson. DeJuan Jackson is going to be looked upon to make some big plays for Lake Ridge. But Holtham, hands down, that's my favorite. That's who I'm running with. But this game is dangerous, though.
A Holtham-Lake Ridge matchup would be fascinating.
That would be
a fun football game.
Yeah, I think either way, you look at Michael Black and anybody against that Lake Ridge defense would be a lot of fun to look at. And there would probably be some fireworks in that football game.
No doubt.
No doubt about it. Let's go down to Region 2. Longview versus Austin Vandergrift up at the top. And then you've got Mesquite Horn, who started 0-7 to the season, made their way into playoffs, defeated a top 15 for much of the season, top 15 ranked Temple squad in the first round, and now they face up against Spring Westfield. That Longview Austin Vandergrift game we'll look at maybe a little bit later, that game tomorrow at McLean Stadium at 6 o'clock. But let's go down to Sam Houston State and let's see what's going on there. Mesquite Horn, Spring Westfield. This is a good football game at the moment, guys, because at really right now 21-16, and Spring Westfield has the football, but at the same time, they are driving. They're making something happen. Mesquite Horn led this game for much of the game, and with 3 turnovers against Spring Westfield, they now find themselves down by 5.
And this is a game that's really had a bunch of ebbs and flows. I mean, it was 7-3 Mesquite Horn, and then here comes Spring Westfield. Ashton Callaway had a 33-yard touchdown to make it 14-3, and then Horn went on a run. They scored 3 consecutive times, 2 of those being field goals, one of them a 14-yard touchdown pass from Jermaine Givens to Cam Jackson, and they were up 16-14 at the break. But coming out here in the third quarter, it's been all Spring Westfield, up 21-16 there, and they're on banging on the door to try and get another touchdown.
Mesquite Horn, they go as Jermaine Givens goes, and he has not really done much today through the air. 47 yards passing, 1 interception, 88 yards on the ground, but that's on 22 carries. So it's not like he's only averaging 4 yards a carry. If he's not busting out big plays, the offense really becomes handicapped.
Yeah, like I said, guys, in pregame, Rashawn James.
Oh, we just got an update. That score just went to 29-16. Chris on top of things in the control room. But, yeah, big-time score for Spring Westfield. So now they lead by 13, which is their biggest lead of the ball game so far.
Like you say, the carriage turns to a pumpkin tonight, guys.
You think so?
Yeah.
Might be the end of the road.
It might be the end of the road. If they win it all, like I said, man, Pixar Entertainment, Disney Pictures has got to pick that one up.
Oh, absolutely.
7 minutes and 38 seconds left. Yeah, I think so, too. I think you got to look at it from a movie standpoint if that's the case. If Friday Night Lights times 2, Mesquite Horn edition this time around. But, yeah, that's the look through 6A, Division I, and Division II. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break right now on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. But when we come back, we're going to look at 5A, the ranks D1 and D2. What are you laughing at over there?
We got this Carthage Midlothian Heritage game that's at the Star, and
a lot riding on this.
This is the best game of the night, as I told you it would be. Yeah. Both these teams are going toe to toe. It's a heavyweight fight.
How about this? When we come back, we'll give a little bit of a look in to the Ford Center.
Ooh, I love live football.
We'll look at Midlothian Heritage and a little bit of Carthage when we come back here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a Forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have 2 different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called Fan Tag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. Fan Tag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the Fan Tag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try Fan Tag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. all at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in-store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
In the middle of a lightning delay in Apogee Stadium, but the haka is in full effect.
Gosh, this is one of the best things in high school football, Trinity's haka. And as you can tell, Riley Dodge keeping his Dragons inside the dressing room. That's something that I know Plano, when we played Euless Trinity, we stayed back. We didn't come out. We let Trinity just do their thing. That's a big point of the haka, is the intimidation factor. You keep your team in the locker room and say, we're going to wait it out, boys. We're not getting intimidated. So a little bit of gamesmanship there by Riley Dodge and South Lake Carroll.
Well, it worked. Up 21.
If you don't see it, you can't be.
You don't see it, you don't know what's happening. I mean, it's if you haven't seen the New Zealand All Blacks, who really originated that haka, that is where it's at. I mean, Trinity does a good job, especially getting way more players on their football team to all do it together. But if you want the true haka, look up that New Zealand All Black squad there. That's some chillings.
Is that rugby?
I know some
rugby.
I know some All Black hakas, and they'll intimidate you too.
Some big dudes, man.
All right, I'm gonna.
Heck, that's inappropriate.
Cannonball. Well, with that being said,
I'm just saying.
let's go to 5A.
We had a little lull in energy. I had to bring y'all back. Let's go.
Oh man!
All right, let's go
Kyle's
to 5A. How is it my fault?
It always is, Kyle.
Okay,
it always is.
I'll take it. I'm the host.
That's why you have that
Let's
nickname.
go.
I know. That's
Wink,
why I have the
wink.
nickname. Yeah. Well, I forgot to ask you about that in the middle of the break. 5A.
Oh, you asked.
5A Division 1. There's a couple games going on right now. Birdville versus
Langston.
Grapevine in Region 1. And we'll talk about that game here in just a second. Don't worry, Zach.
Okay.
But let's go to Birdville and Grapevine. Looking at that Region 1 area, you see Birdville, Grapevine up at the top. A rematch there. Then you've got Coronado and Denton Ryan at the bottom. And then you look at a game that's also in the middle of a lightning delay, or that game's actually tomorrow, rather, in Birdville and Grapevine, 4:30, big-time game between these two squads. We talked about it earlier, but still a big rivalry matchup between two 4-5A Division I foes.
Yeah, man, it's a rematch, two extremely even-matched teams. You look at the numbers there. I mean, they're very similar in that they have explosive offenses and underrated but very solid defenses, so it should be a heck of a game.
So,
yeah. No, it should be fun. I'm excited. District rivalries. Let's go.
Yeah, district rivalries for sure. Now, I did promise this before the break that we were going to take a look inside the Ford Center. Let's look inside the Ford Center because we've got ourselves a pretty darn good game going on between Carthage and Midlothian Heritage. In just a second, we'll see a replay. Here it is from Baylor Scott and White Health. Look at this. Up the middle. Oh, he gone.
Jeez, man, that Heritage offense has been dominant all game.
Telling you, dude.
400 total yards. I mean, well over 100 yards rushing. They've been moving the ball great. The only time they didn't do well was when their quarterback threw an interception. But other than that, I mean, besides that, they've been dominant offensively.
Yeah, they had two big turnovers, a fumble and an interception on ensuing drives that really put Carthage back into this football game. And we talked about Carthage, that 38-game winning streak, back-to-back state champions. You can't make those mistakes. But fortunately, Midlothian Heritage, they've had the response. Dre Washington with the big touchdown there. And my man, Langston Anderson, has been a savage today. 7 catches, 109 yards already in this ball game. And you can see they're just midway through the third quarter. So the game of the night, man, game of the night. And right now, the Jaguars up 35-21, trying to pull the upset.
If the guy you're talking about is a man amongst boys, is number 88.
Yes, Langston Anderson.
Yeah,
and you obviously don't pay attention to my players of the week because I had him as a player of the week about mid-season. Chris Beam knows it. Chris Beam is fully aware this guy's the real deal. Heckma doesn't love me.
Kind of sleeping on him a little bit.
He's underappreciated. Really, that whole Midlothian Heritage. And I know
Honestly,
we got a lot of good teams in 4A, or especially Carthage. We talk a lot about Argyle, Salina, in different regions, of course. But this Midlothian Heritage team, a young and up-and-coming program, a lot like the Frisco schools with Reedy and Lone Star. This could be their year. They finally get everything clicking.
If we take a look at the updated stats from this game, already close to 400 yards of total offense from that Heritage offense. You talked about how they are the real deal. Now, up 35-21. This isn't the first time in this game that Carthage has been down by 14-plus points. They were down 21-6 at the end of the first quarter. So, with that being said,
Carthage, it ain't over.
No, you don't win 38. You don't have the longest winning streak in high school football for no reason, man.
No, by no means.
They're never out of a game.
And they were able to score 2 straight scores and then had a 2-point conversion as well for Carthage in order to make that 21-21 and now 14 unanswered the other way from Heritage to make it a 35-21 game. We'll keep you updated on this one as we've got 2 screens in here. The way that we have our setup here at the Star, it's awesome. Outstanding from the SWBC Mortgage Studios here for Whataburger Friday Night Starts. But we've got 2 screens. You can see them up at the top of the screen right there. On the left, we're watching, a big-time run from Carthage on the left. And we're keeping an eye on that football game as it happens just across the hallway. And then on the other side, we've got our live feed, so we get to look at ourselves really pretty in the camera and whatnot. And especially Eric's beard.
Eric loves to look at himself.
Thanks to Bob Lilly, man. It's all thanks to Bob Lilly.
It is thanks to Bob Lilly.
Until he hooked us up with the digs, we weren't looking too hot.
I would completely agree with that one. But let's go back to that 5A Division I, Region 1, just really quickly. 2 games on Saturday.
Is this your favorite region?
It is.
This region
I know you.
It is.
I really do like this region.
It is fun because it is very area strong. It's really,
yes, it is.
It's really that certain district strong. All 3 of those 4 teams from the same district.
All District 4 really represented except for Colleyville Heritage. Now, we've talked about that district all year long. Grapevine, Birdville, Colleyville Heritage, Denton Ryan, because we knew really kind of what they were comparative to the rest of 5A Division I, at least up at the top part of that bracket. Of course, 5A Division I at the bottom, you've got Highland Park and Lone Star and teams like that we've talked about a lot as well. But in terms of this region, it is very dominated by District 4 5A Division I, and it's very impressive to see 3 out of 4 teams make it this deep into the playoffs. And most likely, unless Coronado wants to spoil the Denton Ryan party, we're going to have another district rematch, much like Birdville Grapevine this week. And you look at the stat line from Denton Ryan, really all that matters is you look at points per game and points allowed. And that's a Denton Ryan team that also maybe you could say has gotten better every single week as the season has gone on, because that is a good football team.
Yeah, I think our question, Heckma, and I know that's something that you were going to allude to it. Offensively. Mm-hmm. That was the question, right? Where was the offense going to come from? We know about the defense. They've had 13 defensive scores. They might be the best defense in 5A. They're outstanding. So offensively, where was he going to come from? And they've had a mixture with Drew Sanders running that Wildcat. But Seth Hennigan, I think he's really stepped up and solidified. Mm-hmm. Hey, I know my role, the sophomore quarterback, and just gets the ball out to his playmakers.
That was exactly where I was going. The Hennigan brothers, and how just from week number 1, I think they played a couple of close games, and we just started to doubt them and just saying that maybe this is a down year for Ryan because they were slacking a little bit at the quarterback position. They were doing a quarterback by committee deal and with Drew Sanders when they needed it. I mean, and literally they're just saying, hey, if we need a play, we know who we can go to, and that's Drew Sanders every time. But I think the brothers have come through, for Ryan.
Let's look really quickly. Last time we'll look through really all of 5A Division I. We'll keep talking about this Denton Ryan team just real quickly since the highlights are rolling. You look at the Hennigans and what they've been able to do though, and getting better. We talked about Drew Sanders at length and what he's been able to do. Now he is back. Man. He is absolutely incredible, and he's now back and healthy and ready to go for the remainder of the playoffs.
Scary.
With that being said, we talked about Highland Park with Miles Dunklin, the voice of the Scots, earlier.
Yeah.
What is it going to take for Denton Ryan, 2 years removed from the first meeting between Highland Park and Denton Ryan in that postseason? Zach, I know that hits a string with you because you were a part of Denton Ryan at that point. But what is it going to take for the Raiders to be able to finally get that monkey off their back that's named the Highland Park Scots if they end up meeting?
One word, 2 words. Drew Sanders.
Okay.
There it is. I mean, he makes the biggest difference from last year to this year for Denton Ryan. He is a dual threat, and what he's going to be able to do anytime that they get into a shootout is go over to the offensive side and be a threat. And so that to me is the answer. I mean, you know for sure that Highland Park, I mean, they have the biggest gun in the whole thing with their quarterback, but also what they've been able to do with Prince and Durba. I know I pronounce this wrong.
Prince Durba, yeah.
Yeah, Durba on defense and what they've been able to do. But guys, it's gonna take a complete team effort to beat the Scouts.
Yeah, man, I don't know. That it would be mind-blowing to me if this were the year those two teams meet in the semifinal and it's the year Ryan finally wins. When you look at what they lost offensively with Spencer Sanders graduating, who I thought was the best quarterback in the state, and you see Finn Corwin, who was maybe the reason why Highland Park was able to beat Manville in that state championship game, making that 4th down conversion. But Highland Park is just so well coached. I think that is what it's come down to. Randy Allen and his staff have just flat out coached Dave Hennigan and Denton Ryan. And look, Denton Ryan did everything they could in both matchups against Highland Park. Now, the first one, you had Spencer Sanders go down. And all Ryan Raider fans out there will continue to say, what if? What if? That was probably the team that was going to beat Highland Park. They were better in every single area. When you look at Ernest Brown, who's now killing it at Northwestern along the defensive line.
Yep.
An absolute game wrecker. I mean, that was the Ryan team to win state. Last year's team, defensively very, very young, and now you're starting to see them reap the benefits of that with Billy Bowman Jr., with Drew Sanders coming over. He, without a doubt, defensively could be an impact player and maybe causing some turnovers, slowing down Chandler Morris in that offense of Highland Park. But I just don't see Denton Ryan's offense being able to give Highland Park the problems not only in game planning but in the game when you don't have Gabriel Douglas, when you don't have Towski Duff. You do have Amani Bailey, and you've got Billy Bowman Jr. who plays both ways. You've got Demarius Robbins. You got Trey Smith. I mean, they have athletes. I just don't think offensively they're nearly as good as they've been the previous 2 years.
And we'll get back to this game really quickly, but I keep saying I want to keep everybody updated on what might be the best game of the night. Well, Carthage just put some points up on the board across the hallway at the Ford Center as we look in at some of the celebration. Now, I'm going to set this up. 4th and 2, penalized 5 yards, made it 4th and 7, doesn't matter. Look at this play up the middle, able to just slip his way free. Big time touchdown, and it's a 1-score possession.
And this is playing live. Again. This is playing live to my left, and it's amazing that I haven't screamed already.
I know, it's so hard for me. It's so hard for me not to start screaming.
The replays we're showing are not live, just to let you know. We're not breaking any rules by any chance, but we are getting to watch it as it goes on so I can kind of see what's going on. But 35-28 is now the score in that ball game. But really quickly, I want to look at the bottom side of that 5A Division I bracket. Region 2, we talked about Highland Park. They'll play Mansfield Timberview, but also John Tyler, and Lone Star worth mentioning just very briefly. But really that whole bracket up at the bottom of Region 2, and you've got Mansfield Timberview and Highland Park is really, we've talked about HP, talked about Denton Ryan, but that Lone Star defense is special as well.
Right, kind of disrespecting
a little bit
Lone Star by jumping straight to Denton Ryan. I mean, Lone Star is going to have something to say in this, and that defense is going to be, when they see Highland Park, it's going to be a rematch. And I'm sure no one is going to be more excited to see Highland Park again than Frisco Lone Star.
For sure.
Yeah, I would give Lone Star the best chance to beat Highland Park. I think with their defense combined with their offense, you talk about Denton Ryan, and not totally sure if their offense could go score for score with a team like Highland Park. Well, Lone Star's really started to hit their stride. Julian Larry and Mims, I know, Walchuk, you love talking about that guy. I mean, they're starting to hit their stride. They're playing the best football that they've played all season long, and they were a young offensive team with a young quarterback who needed to grow and went through some growing pains, and we saw it, but they were still a good team, and they were carried by their defense. Well, now their offense is starting to bring more to the table. 49 points last week, 41 points the week before, 63 points the week before that. They're starting to put up more points, and ever since that letdown against the Colony on that crazy hook and lateral at the end of the game, Lone Star's just been on an absolute tear. And like I said, they're playing their best football right now. I think that's the best team. If you're going to pick a team that could hang with Highland Park, I think Lone Star's the one team to do it. And like you said, Heckman, they've already played the familiarity. They only lost by a field goal, and that was at Highlander.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, was it?
No, it was at Frisco Memorial.
Oh, it was at Frisco Memorial.
Yeah, I was able to go to that game. Yeah, I was able to actually watch that one in person. But no, you're right. I mean, Lone Star defensively, they're one of the best as well. They run that 3-3-5. They're big. They're physical. They've got a lot of athletes, especially they can move in space. And they caused Chandler Morris in that offense a lot of problems. But I think Highland Park's defense stepped up and really smothered that Lone Star offense in that first meeting. Julian Larry, a pair of interceptions, and Marvin Mims was relatively
a lot better now, though. That
they are a lot better now.
A lot better now than
it
was.
But to me, it's all about, and I've said this repeatedly. The proof is in the pudding. When you look at Lone Star's success and when they've been electrifying on offense, it's all about. Look at Marvin Mims' stat line. And if Marvin Mims is putting up a good stat line, Lone Star's offense is balling. And Highland Park has a corner by the name of Hudson Clark that is very underrated as well. And he has been locked up against the best receiver for every team all year long and was a big reason in shutting down Marvin Mims. So I would circle that matchup if those two teams do end up playing next week. Hudson Clark versus Marvin Mims. If Mims can have success, I think you guys are right on. I think Lone Star does have a chance to knock off HP.
You know, Miles Dunklin, he said it. What the not so much what the ingredient was to beating Highland Park, but he did say that you have to commit to a style for 4 quarters. You can't just do it 1 quarter, 2 quarters. You got to do it for the whole game. And that's the, playing your guys out in space and press coverage. You can't sit back and let Chandler Rogers just have his, basically when you sit back off Chandler Rogers, like putting him in a buffet line, he's going to take whatever he wants. But if you pressure him and you make it where it throws the timing for some of those timing routes that they throw in some of those pick plays that they do, I think you're going to have a problem with it.
Those rub routes?
The rub routes. I'm going to rub you out. What they do. They trip you.
Well, with all of that being said, there's a lot of good games tomorrow, and we'll definitely look at that and keep up with it on social media. We'll keep you updated. But as far as 6A Division II and 5A Division I, we might just be done, with the exception maybe Mesquite Horn giving that final score later. We're going to be done talking about that because now we get into 5A Division II. We've got some finals and we've got some live games going on. So this is where it gets really exciting. Starting off with Eric's Justin Northwest Texans.
Oh, do we have to start there?
Yes,
I mean, really, is that where we have to get things going?
We do.
Can we play taps right now?
No, we do not. But before we really get into that, we do have possibly my star of the night, a very strong candidate for my star of the night. Later on in the show, we'll see how the night really goes. But Joshua Price, who's one of our reporters, he drove all the way out to Abilene Christian to get you the footage that we're watching right now. Joshua on the phone right now with us here for Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Josh, first off, thank you so much, not only for joining us, but for being able to drive all the way out to Abilene Christian to get us some quality footage as Lubbock Cooper takes down Justin Northwest and the Texans 34-14. Josh, what did you see from this game from Lubbock Cooper compared to a Justin Northwest team that's out of the North Texas area?
Well, I think what you saw was just bigger plays. On that opening drive, you had Isaiah Johnson rushing for 52 yards on the first drive for a touchdown. And I think, just bigger plays. And when you have those bigger plays, it just gives you so much confidence. And Justin Northwest never really got that. They just tried to march up the field, try to go increment by increment, but they could never really do it in the red zone. They just failed. I believe there was an interception thrown in the red zone, so it never materialized for them.
I'm curious to know about how our Northwest Texan fans and community showed out. Did we travel well? Did we have a good showing of fans and student section out there at the game tonight?
Oh, there is tons of support. I think for both teams. I think both teams were both red and black, so it was kind of hard to tell. But there was huge support. You can hear the support there was towards the fourth quarter as Northwest was trying to make a comeback. They had 2 touchdowns, and that's when the bigger plays happened. But that comeback never materialized, and the support kind of died out there.
And how impressive was the ground game for Lubbock? I mean, their running back, Isaiah Johnson, he went off last week. He did the same thing. I mean, talk about that running game and just how impressive they are. And clearly the Northwest defense struggled stopping it.
Yeah, sometimes it just breaks through, and it sucks to have when it breaks through. Like, Northwest did good, pretty much good, try to keep themselves in the game, but they just couldn't really stop this run. It was just breaking off every couple of tackles, and he just got through. It was just so hard to contain him, and he, like you said in pregame, he wasn't going to let, or postgame, I mean, he wasn't going to let anyone stop him, especially on those plus 50-yard runs.
It seemed like Northwest was able to move the football effectively against Lubbock Cooper, but really, was it they just didn't execute well in the red zone, or was it Cooper's red zone defense that just gave them fits?
I would say it's more execution-wise. 2 picks in the red zone will not win you football games. And he was trying to get those passing plays, but that defense just shut down his receivers mostly. And you could see it coming. It was so easy to read how they were going to pass it. It was just very hard to complete in their red zone.
Joshua Price from ACU all the way out in Abilene as Lubbock Cooper takes down Justin Northwest 34-14. Josh, thanks so much for joining us here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
There he goes, Joshua Price.
What a beast.
A very good candidate for Star of the Night, driving all the way out there and back tonight just to get clips for your Justin Northwest Texans.
I'm sorry we let you down, man. I'm really sorry we didn't
let
show up.
They did let him down by far.
We've been putting up highlight reels and video game numbers all season, and we show up and we get 4 turnovers, 14 points. That's what happens when you play.
That red zone.
Oh, my God.
Carthage.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it's happening.
No way.
Yes, it is.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God. There's a game going on at the Star, guys.
Boys, this is back and forth,
baby.
This is craziness.
This is a crazy
My man Langston Anderson's trying to put that team on his back. He's throwing up the X. He's making catches left and right.
Guys,
1 more yard, Langston.
Listen, I mean, look, there is a game going on next door that
you might have to leave.
Amazing. Did you see number 88 just made a catch?
His name is Langston Anderson, Heckma.
Langston the man.
Anderson. Throw up the X, big fella.
Did you see that catch in traffic? It was amazing.
He's a beast.
Oh, my God.
Should have scored, man. It's a shame he didn't.
Woo!
Yeah, now with the
There's some good game tonight, man.
Interception. I mean, that would be at least the third, maybe even 4th turnover.
I think it is number 4
for Midlothian Heritage, and that alone is keeping Carthage in this football game right now.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible to look at that game, and we'll keep it updated. Heckma's, he can't even contain himself.
I'm just saying, there's some big plays happening in that game.
Well, in fairness, we haven't had a ton of really good games.
That's
here
a
at the
very
Star,
good point.
And this one's finally, especially,
so we don't know how to handle it.
A playoff game.
Is that what we might need to just cut that television off.
Just unprofessional.
Put a screen on there. No, it's fine. This is what we're here for. We're trying to give updates, and what better way to do that than being able to look and.
That was an update, Kyle.
It's an update.
Well, that was incredible because they strip it, and then the guy who's going down hands it to
the
his
ball.
other guy.
That's what I'm telling you.
That was amazing.
Guys, I almost screamed, okay?
Heckma, we need to just give you a sleeping bag because there's a triple header here at the Star tomorrow.
I will be
3
here.
straight games.
I will be here.
Play action, look out, gunner cap,
gunner
over the
caps.
top, boom.
Oh! What a game!
Tie ball game, baby. Hey, Walchuk.
Oh my God!
Your bold
what a
prediction is
game!
slipping away rapidly.
Okay, so my bold prediction. That's a tie at 35 against a team that's won 38 straight. It's
Whoa.
You want to give me grief over that?
They were down 14.
Shut your mouth, Chiafalo.
2 minutes ago,
Man.
they were down by 2 scores.
Just because you're upset Northwest lost doesn't mean you take it out on me.
He is.
My goodness.
Gosh, you read me like a book.
Jeez. It's a tie game at 35. Pending an extra point, and oh my gosh, it's not looking too good.
No, but it's slipping away is all he said. It's slipping away. You're up by 2 scores.
Man,
now it's a tie.
All right.
Find the 88, you'll be fine.
Another couple games going on throughout the area. One of the big ones that we're continuing to monitor, Aledo and South Oak Cliff. This is a massive football game. And do you want me to tell you something in terms of...
I want to know.
Well, that's his hood.
It's his hood, right? Well, in terms of South Oak Cliff, they continue...
to be in a weather delay.
To be in a weather delay. 14-7 at halftime.
I built it up.
I let it happen.
Mr. Bishop. That's my guy. Best quarterback on the field tonight. He's the reason why they win the game.
Is that JoJo?
That's JoJo. Mr. Earl.
And it's funny, with 14-7 being the score at halftime, not a ton of stat lines being put up. You talked about Bishop, Jake Bishop, 2 for 4, 24 yards and a touchdown. Jace McClellan does have 15 rushes for 69 yards, no scores. The only touchdown came from JoJo Earl, which we saw a minute ago from the Aledo side of things. Sean Sims had a touchdown rush off of 6 carries and 63 yards. Sean Sims also had 3 for 5 passing with 20 yards, no scores, and no interceptions.
Ooh, that's my boy Bishop.
Wow,
that was
fitting it in a window. Yeah. Sims ain't doing that.
Only 193 yards for Aledo, which, if you're looking at South Oak Cliff's defense and you're looking for a little bit of, I guess, a benchmark to look at in how good that Golden Bear defense is, that's an Aledo team that puts up like 500 yards per game.
Yeah, they are
average.
They're unbelievable.
And so being able to hold them to under 200 yards and a half is pretty incredible. And then on the other side, South Oak Cliff only with $140 throughout their first half of action. But that's where we stand right now, 14-7, still at in the middle of a rain delay in Midlothian. And Guy Fraser's at that game. He was talking to me earlier and saying that they're still pushing the game back. They still are looking to try and get this thing in the next half hour is where they're looking at, maybe about 15 minutes until this one gets back underway. I'm hoping that'll stay true. I'll keep you updated on a lot of these games as I'm kind of trying to communicate with the reporters and make sure that we have the most up-to-date information as possible. As of right now, Aledo, South Oak Cliff looks like about 15 minutes until the next part of that game. And actually, I'm looking at this, and for some reason, it looks like it's the end of the third quarter.
No, that's just how they do that.
Is that just how it's there?
Yeah, it's halftime.
That's just
it is halftime still?
Yeah. That's
okay. Okay. Well, with that being said, then we will move on to Frisco Reedy and Burleson Centennial. And Reedy got up in this game early.
The Foskey show, man.
They have not slowed down since. 20-7 is that score. 4:18 left in the third quarter of that one. Foskey 93 yards, 12 of 18 passing. As the Reedy Lions lead it 20-7 in this ball game. Is this surprising by any means over Burleson Centennial?
No, they were up 20-0 early. Burleson Centennial was able to tack on a touchdown here recently, but it's a Burleson Centennial team that we talked about in the preview. They're relatively one-dimensional. They want to run the football, but Reedy, one of the most complete offenses in the entire state, and a defense that is pretty darn good as well. So all in all, just a better football team for Frisco Reedy. And Burleson Centennial able to narrowly get by a Midlothian team, or was it Corsicana last week, who lost their starting quarterback earlier in that football game. So I think Reedy's taking care of business just that we thought that they would.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I was just going to say you're only running 56 yards in the first half there. And when you depend on the run game, Jalen Jackson, I mean, he's got 15 yards on the ground. That's their workhorse. So that's trouble. Reedy's just, man, they're just a good team through and through.
Yeah, they really are, and they're complete. The defense is there. The turnovers are there. You can run the ball. They can throw the ball with Foskey. They can really do it all, and you see the turnovers being forced. You see the different plays being made defensively, and that's huge. And Foskey can use his legs as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm looking at this game, and I'm completely seeing a different narrative. I see that Reedy Foskey's been dominating teams this whole season, but now you see Reedy getting into a situation where they're getting into the red zone. They're having to settle for field goals.
Look at that defense forcing all kinds of turnovers. We had an interception. There was a fumble there, and there's Centennial doing what they do best, getting a long touchdown run. Finally, we're able to break one free. But that is a good point. In the red zone, we've seen some. We just talked to Josh about Northwest struggling in the red zone, throwing those red zone picks. And when you start getting closer and closer, that field's a little bit smaller, everything's constricted. How do you execute in the red zone? Reedy, that is one knock you could say right now. They're struggling a little bit with the red zone execution.
Because here's the thing: if Burleson can put another score together, they're only 6 points.
No doubt. And even if they do, they are able to beat Burleson, which we expect. When you're playing either South Oak Cliff or an Aledo in the next round, especially an Aledo team that can put up, they haven't scored less than 40 points all year. You've got to turn those field goals into touchdowns.
And 4 turnovers, man.
That's huge. The 4 turnovers, it really kind of turns things around. And any kind of momentum you try and get going from a Centennial perspective, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to be able to get the job done. Now, I do have a couple updates in terms of lightning delays. I was talking about Aledo, South Oak Cliff. They had their lightning delay clock all the way down into single digits, and then another flash pushes that one back another 28 minutes before that one gets underway. However, if you go to Denton, the 2 games in Denton, South Lake Carroll and Trinity, and then Argyle and Salina, those 2 games are about to get back underway. Trinity, South Lake Carroll should be back up and running in about 5 minutes, and then Argyle and Salina already back underway in that game. Let's go look at that game down in 4A Division I Region 2, Argyle versus Salina. This was a game in the first time around. It was absolutely dominated by the Eagles of Argyle. 63-21 was that score. It was 42-49 to nothing at the halftime break of that one, and it's not the same story this time around as Argyle is trailing at the moment to Salina in this football game, and Salina and the Bobcats are really trying to figure some things out, and they have done so and shut down Bo Hogaboom. 6 of 11, 78 yards, no scores, as it's 14-3 Bobcats at the start of the third quarter, guys.
Yeah, Salina time. It's the real thing, right? And we mentioned this would be a different game. When you looked at the turnovers that Salina had, Argyle able to jump out to a 28-0 lead, and the effectiveness that Argyle defense had shutting down Logan Point, a completely different script. So far, Salina's taken care of the football. Their defense has come to play, and they're shutting down Dylan Carter, Bo Hogamoon, Tito Bice, and the ferocious offensive firepower that Argyle brings to the table. And Logan Point scored the game's opening touchdown for Salina. So he's in a groove early. And Salina, maybe, Coach Bill Elliott, I read that quote from him early, basically saying he thought that Argyle wasn't getting any better and that Salina had a lot of room to improve, and he thought that Argyle was the same team that they had played 3 weeks ago, whereas Salina is a much improved team, and they have beaten really good teams in Wilmer Hutchins and Stephenville to get to this game, and it is the postseason, and we know about that glorified Salina history come playoff time. 25 straight appearances, 8 state championships. There's something in the water. All of a sudden, it's November to December. Salina time's real, man. That is not a joke.
Well, it's amazing that, a coach makes a statement like they hadn't gotten any better and they're just blowing everybody out by 50 points. What do you mean? Okay. I mean, that's bulletin board material. Why? But it was enough to galvanize his team to come out there tonight. First half, they have been all over Hogaboom. That has, when we've been going to these stats at halftime for Argyle, it's been reading like, who didn't Bo Hogaboom get a touchdown to? And
yeah, so the game's been over.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a little bit different to see them down, by 11 points. But at some point, the Bears going to wake up.
Yeah, the bear, you poke the bear enough, the bear's going to wake up and you're going to see something. And that bear's waking up right now. They're on the Salina 13 with 10:36 left. But we look at some of the highlights in this game, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, and it's been a theme all night long. Speaking of the bulletin board material and the coaching and the trash talk in between the two squads, but with the fact of having these bulletin board materials, do you think that there was extra hours put in from the Salina coaching staff? Because I'm sure out of anyone that was embarrassed out of that first loss to Argyle, I'm sure that coaching staff was right up at the top of the list for guys that wanted to avenge that loss more than anybody, correct?
Yeah, who else has put it on me at the end of the game? It's the coaches. And so, all of that bulletin board material that we're talking about is just coach's way of trying to, get his team jacked up. But they didn't watch any of that game from the 63-17 shellac. And what do you get from that? You got beat down.
Yeah, they knew, hey, we had self-inflicted wounds. We turned the ball over, and really, before we could blink, we're down 4 touchdowns. We're completely taken out of our game plan. That game was not the way that we envisioned it going. So they felt confident, regardless, from the outcome, just being able to start off 0-0, a clean slate. And these are two programs playing in the same district. They're very familiar with each other. It's been a hotly contested rivalry. I think Argyle leads the series over the last 15 years 7-5. So, both teams have had success. Both teams obviously perennial playoff contenders. We knew this game was going to be much closer. I just think all of us thought that Argyle would be on the winning end of this thing. And it's not to say they still won't be. They've certainly got the offense to come back from an 11-point deficit. But the way Salina's playing right now, certainly a great difference from 3 weeks ago.
I think this is a little bit more so of what I expected out of this matchup the first time around. I didn't expect Argyle to be up 40-plus points at halftime. That is not what I looked at and was like, oh, let's send reporters to that game. Let's highlight that game because it's going to be 40-0 at halftime. However, this time around, I agree with you. I don't think I would have expected Salina to be on.
I like how you just did that because you didn't send a reporter to the game.
No, there's a reporter at the game.
Oh, it is. Oh, my bad.
We just watched highlights. Where did we think the highlights were from?
Just thought you said you didn't send a reporter.
However, Argyle did just now score, so 14-9, as they had a 13-yard touchdown run. The extra point was no good, as they actually went for 2 and did not get it. They tried to get within a field goal and ended up missing it. So instead of it being 14-10 or 14-11, it is 14-9, still a touchdown lead at the moment by Salina. So moving on from there, let's look at the bracket for Region 2 overall as we look at Waco La Vega, who moved on last night with a big 38-20 win over Paris. And then you also had Salina and Argyle as of the moment right now. The winner, of course, facing that Waco La Vega squad that Argyle just barely squeaked by the first time around. And these are some of the highlights from that Paris and La Vega game last night, 30-28. And really, Paris early on, a team that's been playing very well, actually got up early in this ball game and just wasn't able to hold the momentum and ended up dropping this football game. La Vega, on the other hand, after that loss early in the season to Argyle, 31-29 was that final score, a 2-point win. They have really run the table and now will face the winner of Salina and Argyle. And you can see the excitement after the touchdown for Paris, but it just wasn't enough last night for the Wildcats, guys.
No, I mean, this is the run offense of Waco La Vega that just took over in this one. And for Paris, what a run for them. Coming out of this tough district with Argyle, with Salina, playing some really, really quality opponents. And Paris made a run. I mean, this was a team that got a big win last week. And to come in here, they just hit a Waco La Vega team that clearly is one of the best in a state championship contender, especially given the fact that they played Argyle to the closest game they'd played all year up until this game today against Salina.
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing. Argyle defeated Paris by 8 points, defeated La Vega by 2 points. So either way, it was going to be a rematch of the closest games that Argyle has played all year. If Argyle is able to get past Salina, right now that's looking pretty tough because they still trail by 5, but we'll keep an update on that one. Let's take a quick break here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We're into the final hour of the regional semifinal matchup as we keep going through the Texas high school football playoffs. We're live from the Star in Frisco. We'll be back in a moment.
Nothing works up my thirst for an ice-cold Pepsi Cola like getting buckets. Whether I'm breaking ankles or breaking hearts.
Hey, Drew.
It always brings the refreshment, and I've been drinking it a long time.
Drew, how old are you anyway, man? Doesn't matter.
Uncle Drew, in theaters, June 29th. Future tastes good.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have 2 different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, it's Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Just down the hallway from the Ford Center as we are bringing you Texas high school football action as we love Texas high school football. And, man, we've got some incredible games going on right now. Let's go to the Ford Center really quickly.
Oh, really quick.
Really
Dude,
quickly.
You got to see this.
Can we get there? Look at this.
Look at this
is off
catch.
Of a pass.
Oh my God!
Oh
Triple
my
coverage.
gosh, triple
Goodness
coverage.
gracious.
Oh my gosh. Was that as advertised, boys?
That's a wide receiver pass.
Eric and Heckman both missed that. I was like, oh my goodness.
I saw your eyes.
Freaking out.
That's why I turned.
Over that catch. What a catch that was. We got ourselves just a barn burner next door.
That's a fun game, and we are just yards away from it, but we are unable to be there.
It's okay.
I still believe in Carthage, man. I still believe in my Carthage.
Well, they're Carthage.
Instead
of Carthage. It's
I'm
not
sorry.
Like
he knows about so much.
It's not a.
They're my squad. They always have.
Name a
sound like you're talking about
roster.
a printer cartridge or something of the sort. But guys,
let's talk about Parish Episcopal and Bishop.
Well, yeah,
Dune.
that's one of the things. Let's look at this. Oh my gosh.
Oh man. So Bishop
Taps
Dunn.
matchup of the weekend.
Okay, yes, Taps matchup of the weekend by
Is
far.
it Dunn or Dune, Kyle?
It's Dunn. It is Bishop Dunn, guys. I've said that all
He is
season
so
long.
good.
Eric
Except for
needs
the
to
first
figure it
time
out.
we talked about
Eric
them.
needs to figure some things out. So Parish Episcopal, Bishop Dunn. This is a rematch from earlier in the season, and this is the semifinals. The way the Taps is, it's only the semifinals. Not as many teams, of course, from around the state, but for really I believe it's like the 5th out of 7 years. The final 4 teams have been out of the Dallas area. Dallas has dominated the Taps level, no doubt about it. Parish Episcopal, Bishop Dunn up at the top of the bracket, and then at the bottom you've got Bishop Lynch and Argyle Liberty Christian. One of the crazy things about this is a lot of these teams have played each other already. You see Argyle Liberty Christian, their last game of the season was just basically for fun. It was a non-district game with Parish Episcopal that ended in the wild game where it was a picked-up punt return. And then, of course, Bishop Dunn with Parish Episcopal and Bishop Lynch all in the same district. So with that being said, These 4 teams playing on Saturday for a chance to go to Waco, play at Waco High or Waco Midway's Stadium, Panther Stadium down in Waco for a chance at the state championship next Saturday. But they're all so familiar. What does that bring to the table for these games, guys?
I think it puts more pressure on the coaching. I think that's when coaching really comes to light here. You've already faced this team. All right, what adjustments do we make? What new wrinkles are we going to have? And what are we going to be extra prepared for that we maybe weren't as much in the last game? And that's why I think when you're talking about rematch games, yeah, the players are familiar with each other, but so are the coaching staff. So what new wrinkles are you going to do, and what adjustments are you making from the previous game? This one's going to be a little different just based on the weather factor. It shouldn't be near as much. Heckman's going crazy right now. What do we got, Heckman? We got, what's going on? Carthage?
I'm right here
Carthage.
with
Kyle's getting so upset.
Kyle's so mad. Right
Kyle
now.
is like, guys, can we stick to one thing?
I would like to stick to
number 8 is just
I will say
if
if Midlothian Heritage goes on to score here, we've got to mention it.
Yes. No,
we driving. There's less than 5 minutes left. Thank you. The boys in the back, they know what's up. Matt, Chris, Chance.
Oh my God.
You guys are killing it. Look at this catch. Just
number 8 is
Boss City. Well, right now,
tons of catches today.
Langston Anderson and him are quite the tandem. Let's get back to this Bishop Dunn and Parrish game, though. I think the first matchup between the two, it was all about the defense of Dunn or Dune, according to Kyle, versus that explosive offense with Preston Stone and Parrish. And Heckma, maybe one of the best tweets of the week about how they played in a monsoon. So it really took Parrish and Preston Stone out of what they like to do offensively. Definitely benefited a Bishop Dunn team, which is a grinded out, play great defense. Brian Williams, all world, maybe best player in the state of Texas. The A&M commit, plays DB, but he does a lot of stuff for Bishop Dunn.
Linebacker, D-line.
Yeah, he plays anywhere.
Whatever those guys.
4 of his 5 interceptions this year were returned for touchdowns.
He's a difference
and one of them
maker.
was just last week.
Absolutely. So it really played into the hands of Bishop Dunn. You're hoping, weather's not an issue, and we can see Parrish, who had an outstanding game last week, and Preston Stone, a 99-yard touchdown pass. I know you were on hand for that one. Unbelievable. It's not every day you see a 99. In this building, Tony Dorsett, sure, we're accustomed to it. But in high school, 99-yard bombs like that do not happen all the time. And Preston Stone, one of the best arms in the state, one of the best young quarterbacks we've got to watch. So I'm really excited to see this match. But I think it's going to be much different than the first meeting.
Now, you were really hard on me about anointing Stone, my man. I called him the golden child. He has the knife. Anyway, you'd have to be a part of the 80s cinema to know what I'm talking about there.
Dang, I just missed the cut on that one, dude.
Shut up.
Yeah, you were close.
But Preston Stone is, they had to have the elements with him to slow him down. I don't believe they had any yards passing in that game that they played in Oak Cliff against Bishop Dunn. But you said it. Brian Williams is the difference maker for Bishop Dunn and their defense, and it's gonna be a tough game. Doesn't matter if it's raining, hot, cold. It's going to be a tough game for them.
But Episcopal hasn't shown up against their 4 toughest teams this year. Dunn, Prestonwood, Lynch, and Argyle Liberty Christian. They're 1-3 in those games, and they failed to put up 30 points in all of those games.
Yeah.
Now, in the rest of their games, they dominate, and it's great, and it's wonderful. We're playing a little bit of the lowly teams. When we go play these teams that are now, you'd see 2 of those 3 teams are right here waiting for you in the state championship. So these are the cream of the crop teams, and so far this year, Episcopal has really failed to show up.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. Now, I would throw in a game that's at the end of that. Fort Worth Nolan was the game they played last week, and like you said, Zach, I was on the call for that game. Got to do some play-by-play for that one. And Cameron Overton, we've talked a lot about Preston Stone. We've talked a lot about what he's able to do. But Cameron Overton made that game last week. He had 8 receptions, 288 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And talking about those 3 touchdowns, they all came when Parrish was down 14-6, and from that point forward. So he had the 99-yard touchdown pass, which I kid you not, it was all the way up. A blade of grass could have separated that ball from the goal line. Could not have been placed any better for a defense to start a drive against an offense. And he threw it 99 yards for a touchdown, but it was Cameron Overton that made the play over the corner in order to make that thing break free. Then he had a 70-yard touchdown reception. Oh, and by the way, you want an encore to your 99-yard? How about an 89-yard touchdown reception at the end of that ball game?
Well, just give him a yellow jacket already.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the fact that he was able to make plays like that.
Well, you've already given one to Preston. Let's be honest here. Let's give him a candy. Here you go.
Oh, yeah, whatever. But overall, I just think it's an incredible feat for Parrish. I get what you're saying. In the regular season, they did not play well in big games. but I think they're a different team now than what they have been, as we saw last week with the way they played against Fort Worth. Nolan, on the other side of that bracket, though, then you've got a team like Bishop Lynch, and you're matched up Bishop Lynch with an Argyle Liberty Christian team, which a lot of people think have what it takes in order to win a state title at the TAPS ranks, especially after their win over Prestonwood, who a lot of us looked at as the favorite inside of TAPS.
Reigning champs. Yeah.
Reigning champs, exactly.
Absolutely. And they got the win over Prestonwood. Now, I think it is fair to note, Dylan Codwalder, the outstanding quarterback for Prestonwood Christian, was hurt in that game. Panetti, their backup, came in relief and really struggled. And Argyle Liberty Christian was able to capitalize off of that. But to them, I mean, Coach Stephen Greek said afterwards, that was a signature win. You know, PCA is really dominated the TAPS level. If they haven't won a state championship, they've made very deep runs every single year. And now this is an Argyle Liberty Christian team that was able to avenge a 49-20 loss to Prestonwood. Gives them a ton of confidence heading into this Bishop Lynch game. They're led by sophomore quarterback Daniel Greek, who's been very good this year, but they're a run-first team. I mean, they want to run the football with – really both of these teams do. They want to come out and run the football. Bishop Lynch, though, with Charles Crawford, last week, 375 yards and 4 touchdowns in their victory over Houston St. Thomas. So both these teams want to come out, run the football. Something's got to give here, and – if Lynch were to win this game and Bishop Dunn were to win their game and both those teams meet in the state championship, it would be a rematch of the 2016 title. And you're right, Kyle. You look at it, and the DFW has just dominated TAPS. This is the 9th time in 11 years.
That's what it was.
The 9th time in 11 years that it'll be an all DFW area matchup. So another cool storyline with Argyle Liberty Christian, and this kind of came up with the matchup last night with the Cowboys and the Saints, but in 2012, Sean Payton was suspended by the NFL for that bounty gate that went on, and his kids go to Argyle Liberty Christian. So he came home, and he actually was the offensive coordinator for their 6th grade team. That 6th grade team is now all seniors on this Argyle Liberty Christian team. So they've learned from the best. A lot of those kids were interviewed this week leading up to it, talking about like kind of how was that experience, what were they able to learn from Sean Payton. So just a cool little intertwining storyline being here at the Star in Frisco with Sean Payton and his relationship with Argyle Liberty Christian.
You're so smart, Chuck.
I just try and find some nuggets to help the show out, bro.
He's got it all under lock, but when we look at these games, we see the 4 area teams in the Division I ranks. So it's not that way in Division II. However, possibly the favorite, and Heckma, I know you're just chomping at the bit to talk about this ball club. The favorite in that Division II ranks might very well be Trinity Christian Cedar Hill and what they're able to do. What have you looked at from their matchup as they got a tough Fort Worth Christian team on the other side coming up tomorrow at 9?
Yeah, Trinity Christian Cedar Hill is look, they are the talk of TAPS, and not always for a good reason. There are so many parents in the TAPS school districts that they don't want to play this team. You know, they look at them as the IMG, basically, of North Texas, because they're. If I just went position by position, all 22 players, it's an all-star cast of guys that are amazing. Look, they should rename the school Trinity Christian Cedar Hill to the Charles Xavier Institute of Higher Learning for like X-Men.
Absolutely,
I love that reference.
That's awesome.
I'm just telling you, when you look at these players, these guys are amazing. You talked about a kid, I believe it was the first week you highlighted a kid,
Quaylen Jones.
Quaylen Jones,
running back.
Is
the running back, y'all. This dude's a
big
stud.
boy.
He should not be allowed to play with teenagers. It's 5'10", 225 pounds, and he is built like a grown man-child.
He's going to be a Baylor Bear, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
all right.
I don't know how that happened. Baylor got him. Baylor,
Matt
you
Rule
are
said
getting
the right things.
Baylor, you're getting a dog square. Okay, that's dog.
Double dog?
Double dog.
He's a double dog, double G?
Oh, man, dude, he's too much, all right? But I'm going to get off him, and I want to tell you guys, Deion Sanders has a few kids that play on this team.
Deion coaches on the team, doesn't he?
He
Deion's
does.
Professor X.
Thank you.
That's what he'll tell you that's for sure.
That's okay, but he got me. Deion Sanders has his baby, his youngest son, Shadir Sanders, is the quarterback for Cedar Hill, and he has all the tools. Tall, rangy, great arm, plenty of speed in that RPO offense. But I'm telling you, his kid, though, his oldest boy, Shiloh Sanders, DB. Dude, he's got
good genes.
He doesn't have the prime speed. But
you do.
Exactly. That's not saying much,
I don't know that anybody's had the prime speed. Maybe Tyreek Hill,
right?
but nobody else.
And so he doesn't have prime speed, but he's physical. All right. So he's physical and he loves to hit people. So he's probably got that from his mom's side of the family. Okay, that's the part that's really good. That he's a physical guy. Everyone's.
I mean, that's a business decision.
Shots fired. Maybe.
No, I didn't mean it like that. But what I'm saying is, guys,
it's well known. Deion didn't tackle.
So what I'm saying is that, guys, this kid. Obviously, they're saying that he's going to go to Florida State, but we don't know if he's going to Florida State. He's got the pick of the litter of whichever school that he wants to go to. But the guy that you have to know for Cedar Hill is going to be a kid by the name of Lewis Sin. Lewis Sin, 6'2", 195 pounds. He's going to be a Georgia Bulldog. And you know my favorite saying, guys, he can knock the paint off a school bus.
Wow.
This
SEC guy.
SEC kid.
Yeah, that SEC body.
Woo! And I'm telling you, he love to hit people.
What position is he? A linebacker?
Free safety.
Oh, free safety. 6'2", 195.
195 coming downhill. So if you're standing around a pile, please get down on the ground because Lewis Sin is coming. And I mean, it's a sin to be that good. No pun intended. Let's go.
Jeez, man. Their point differential is plus 411.
There's a reason why nobody wants to play them because they are just darn good.
I'd like to see him play done, though.
Well, that
fun game.
Just that defense. I think
that would be interesting.
Be fun.
The biggest difference is for Cedar Hill is Quaylen Jones. He is such a physical runner, so physical sometimes, and he's looking for that contact. He wants to run over you, and sometimes he leaves the ball behind.
All right. So with that being said, that's a look through all of the private schools, at least in the area, going into tomorrow's matchups.
Well, let's give a quick shout out to Flower Mound, Coram Deo.
Flower Mound, Coram Deo, and hey, who's one of those impact players over there?
Oh man, they've got a guy by the last name of Beam. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him.
I don't know if I've heard of him.
I don't know
Tell
if
me
he's
about
like
him.
I know a Chris Beam. He's a legend.
Chris Beam.
He is a legend.
I don't know if there's a relation between him and this other Beam guy, but there's some Beam over there. Plays both ways, corner and receiver,
and is apparently a stud. But
he's pretty darn good.
Guys, let's go to the Ford Center right now. We've got 20 seconds left in this game. This is Carthage, 2nd and 7 from the 7-yard line, rolling out to his right, being chased down, trying to find somebody, heaving it. It's intercepted. No! And Midlothian Heritage.
Yes! No! 38-1 in their last 39.
There's got to be a flag.
Yeah, it looks like there may be a little bit of a premature celebration.
Oh my God, maybe there is.
Gunner Caps.
The way that the quarterback was dragged down might have been a horse collar.
Oh, I would love
he
that.
was dragged down pretty aggressive.
As we await the call
from the 1.
Now I will say Gunner Caps, though, on the move has not played very well today.
No.
He has really struggled, not as mobile as I think.
It is a horse collar.
It is a horse collar.
Oh,
breathe new life.
Goodness.
That's a backbreaker right there, man.
Now, what do you think? Because Midlothian,
I wonder
Carthage
if
been going for 2.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they will go for 2.
You think they go for 2 and try and win this game?
No.
They've done that.
However, they did go for 2.
They have been going for 2, but they didn't the last time they scored. They went ahead and kicked the extra point.
Kicked the extra point.
I don't know. Would you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think I would too, man.
Yeah, I'm going for it.
We're going to keep a close eye on this game. We're not going away anywhere just yet.
Because your Heritage, how
sick
sick are you right now?
Oh, that was it.
You just
sealed
had
it.
One.
You just sealed it.
What a killer.
Winner of this game. Man, that's unbelievable.
What if we're due for like one of those LSU A&M overtime
7
bouts?
Here we go.
For the next 4 hours.
That'd be crazy. We'll stay on the air the entire time.
Yeah, we really would. We really would. 5 wide receivers here for Carthage. 1st and 3 from the 3. Over the middle. Slant. Off the hands.
Broken up.
5
seconds left. 5 ticks left. Heritage needs to calm it down here because they have not really been good inside the red zone in these situations tonight.
No, they've left a lot of points on the field out there.
Their turnovers. Their turnovers have really kept Carthage in this football game. We can't reiterate that enough.
They've gone for it
this game shouldn't be as close as it is right now. And
inside the 5,
Carthage
like
has
3
gone
or
for
4
it
times.
a lot.
Well, this is basically 4th down here. I mean,
you might get one more chance.
Yeah, it depends on how
quick.
It
would be close.
But you're definitely going to be looking to 10.
Here's
10 and
Gunner
red
Caps.
is going to be your guy. Top of the left.
Same play.
Going back of the end zone.
Oh, broken out.
One second.
Tick left on the clock.
Oh, wow. Great coverage there.
That was incredible coverage. You got it backside, turned around just at the right
that
moment.
fade. I hate it, man.
I do too.
Unless
like
you
that
just got
throw it early enough.
Yeah, he didn't. It wasn't a good throw, no doubt. But that's the thing with the fade, right? If the ball's not out and it's not a good throw, you've got no chance, and you've really got to have a dominant, big, physical, strong-handed receiver to go up and just pluck that baby.
All right, let's go back to the Ford Center. 1 second left. This is the end of regulation.
Ball game.
Setting things up, Carthage with the football on the 3-yard line, trying to score down by 7. You've got Gunnar Capps. He's the quarterback, 20 for 28, 342 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they're going to take one more timeout to talk this over.
Well, watch. You see 10 in red there. That's Kelvontae Dixon, and he's been the guy. I mean, inside the red zone, he has been a difference maker. They've not only gotten him the ball receiving-wise, but rushing as well.
10 receptions, 141 yards for Dixon. And rushing-wise, he's only had 5 carries, but he's had 14 yards off of that. So not really the most success running the football. On the other side, Landon Ledbetter in this game for Midlothian Heritage, 24 for 36 with 302 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Dre Washington on the ground has had 10 carries for 103 yards. And your man Langston Anderson, 9 receptions, 171 yards, but he may have been outplayed statistically by Jay Wilkerson, 9 receptions, 126 yards, but 2 touchdowns. That's a big number 8 that we saw make the catch in triple coverage earlier in the ball game. So with that 1 second left, lots at stake. You've got 458 yards of total offense for Heritage, 407 for the Carthage team. And Zach, you talked about this Carthage team earlier. The pedigree is there. Defending 2-time state champions. They've had the pedigree. They've had the winning streak. 38 straight games on the line with 1 second remaining.
Here it goes. And for Midlothian Heritage, a program that's never advanced past this round.
Is this their final play of their career for some of these guys?
Here it is.
He's got time.
Over the middle.
Oh, he's short.
He caught it, but he may just be
short. You got to give him the touchdown.
No,
give him the touchdown.
Yes,
sir. Oh, my gosh.
Yes, sir.
They gave him the touchdown?
They gave him the touchdown.
That's a shocking call. I don't think that ball was across the plane.
I don't either.
I really don't think it was.
Oh, my goodness.
There's no replay.
Thank God.
Wow.
In high school football, that, guys, was not.
That's crazy, man.
Replay that.
That's crazy.
We may have to look at a replay.
The Ford Center will probably make it happen, but I thought that was an unbelievable defensive play right there at the goal line.
Holy cow.
But time by that offensive line, good protection there.
Yes.
Gave Gunner enough time to go ahead and survey the defense.
This is a big time.
Now they're going to line up for the PHC.
This is it, man.
What you got, my boy?
It's a
Got to
fake.
get it done.
It's a fake.
It's up.
Almost
blocked, but it's good.
We got free football. Overtime.
Overtime, here we come.
A&M LSU.
Oh, my
We're coming for
goodness.
8. I can't believe that was called a touchdown. That was a bang play.
But
really nobody would have had a better look at it than that ref, you would think.
Ty goes to runner, bro.
Dude.
Let's keep this thing going.
And the thing is with a play like that, a lot of times it's judgment call in terms of where do you call forward progress? Where do you receive that ball? Where do you pull that in order to have it made the way that it has been? And we see the stat lines there tied at 42. Midlothian Heritage and Carthage, these two teams battling it out. They're literally showing fans right now in the Ford Center crying.
We thought we were done.
They are bawling in the Ford Center about how crazy this game has been. But you talk about the turnovers. Both teams have had their fair share, but a lot of points left on the board there for the Heritage side of things.
Yeah, Midlothian Heritage has been the better team tonight. They've really just squandered with the turnovers. The turnovers, they've got 4. And offensively, they've moved the ball with ease. Dre Washington's had a great game. Landon Ledbetter's been outstanding. You talked about those 2 receivers. And now, defensively, they came up with a couple of big stops. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to make that final one.
No, that was not a touchdown. They blew that
I think
call.
Carthage, there's a – I don't know.
Say it. Say it. Let it come out of your mouth.
When you look at some of these schools that
sizzle in your spirit,
that just they find a way. They win 38 straight. They win 25 straight. They get some things that kind of go their way.
That was not a touchdown.
That was not a touchdown.
That was a great stop.
Midlothian Heritage made a game-winning play, and they got robbed.
They really did.
They flat out got robbed. That's pretty terrible.
This is where you're going to see ball don't lie, right? This is a chance. And Caden Holcomb was the one that reeled in that pass. Caden Holcomb made a big-time play, ended up catching the football, but I agree with you. I think he was about this far short at the goal line.
Like his legs might have been at the goal line. His feet might have been touching there. I don't think that football. I think that football was at the half-yard line.
Yeah.
And then he got pushed backwards about 3 more yards.
Can't we just be thankful we got free overtime football?
This outstanding football game
keeps
to be playing. That's true.
And we're gonna stay here. We're gonna make sure that's taken care of.
Yeah, tell that to Chris and
oh man
and Matt.
Yeah, they're looking at me and
they're thinking you guys can stay, but we won't be streaming.
Now you were talking about a stud by the last name of Beam before you got interrupted by the game.
Yes,
so obviously this kid is
take it away.
Amazing. I mean, this Chris's nephew, man. We all know the kid. He's a baller.
And we're not just saying this because it's Chris's nephew.
No, he's really good.
Like if he weren't legit, we wouldn't bring this up. He's really good.
No, we'd bring it up.
No, we wouldn't. Legit. No, I wouldn't. I'm honest.
It's Chris's nephew.
I'm not going to bring up fake news, man. If my nephew weren't good, I'm not going to bring him up.
If my nephew was good, I'd bring him up.
And talking to
you actually have brought up one of your cousins.
Go ahead.
You have, haven't you? Talking about
maybe it was your uncle.
Talking about this Carthage game a little bit. We were talking about the play just a moment ago. I just got a text message from Jackson Donovan, who's at the game right now, and he said that's not a touchdown. He said that ball was taken out of the goal line before it even touched the goal line. He's sitting on the sideline right now, and he still thought that was not a touchdown. So I don't know. Just a tough, controversial call to send that one to OT 42-42. Let's look at some of the other scores around the area. As right now, Frisco, Reedy, Burles, and Centennial, that game's still at a halftime delay. We've got the same thing with Arlington, Lamar, and Duncanville. Looks like Arlington, Lamar, and Duncanville might be getting back underway here in just a moment. Aledo, South Oak Cliff still being delayed due to weather. But
Argyle's up now.
Are they really?
Argyle has just scored to take the lead, 19-14, and it is Tito Bice with a 15-yard touchdown run. So, Heckma, right on cue. You said eventually the bear would wake. Looks like Argyle has awoken.
They're playing my favorite Destiny Child's song called "Say My Name."
Say my name, say my name.
Still 8:28 left in that football game, and Salina has the football on the right around midfield.
I'm going to call an overtime game in that one too.
Well, it's a 5-point game, so it's going to be kind of tough.
Things will happen.
Safety and a field goal is no problem.
I'm trying to.
I'm upset for Midlothian Heritage right now. They had an interception to seal the win. They got taken away because of the horse collar. Then they were robbed of a phenomenal stop. That was clearly short. Like everybody in this entire building and complex knew that ball was short, except for Eric Chiafalo to my left. And he's only saying it wasn't short because he doesn't want me to get an upset pick correct.
Exactly.
It's true.
Which is the only reason why you're upset. You think you got robbed.
I've been a fan of Midlothian Heritage forever. But this has been an outstanding football game.
It has been an outstanding
I'm not
football
upset
game.
about overtime.
And
I want 8 now, though. I want to set a
Midlothian
record.
Heritage is going to get the football first, so Carthage will have a chance to answer from the 25-yard line, alternating possession.
Of course, they get the ball second, right? They know exactly what they'll need.
They knew the coin toss, whatever. Yeah, no, I don't know about that one. 19-14, though, Argyle over Salina. But one of the games that I do want to look at that is back underway is that Trinity versus South Lake Carroll game from Apogee Stadium. This is a good football game, guys. 21-7 at the start of the fourth quarter, and Trinity has the football. The thing is you look at 21-7 in this football game, and it doesn't surprise me that South Lake Carroll's up by 2 scores. What does surprise me is how low scoring this is, because I thought both of these teams would be able to put up some points. Are you surprised by only 28 combined points through the first 3 quarters for these two squads?
I mean, both of these teams have good defenses. I mean, especially when you look at South Lake and what they did, or really what they've done all season, but what they did, I know I keep talking about it, what they did against Coppell in the round 1 of the playoffs where they had negative 30 rushing yards in that game. I mean, South Lake's defense is really good. Trinity's defense is as well. And South Lake's offense, of course, they have the ability to put up a ton of points, and Trinity's done that as well. But at the same time, when you talk about two teams that like to run the football, you're not really sure how the weather's going to be. Obviously, the second half, I mean, it's been a monsoon out there. I mean, that's going to bring slowing the scoring down a little bit. But for me, it's Will Bowers getting it done through the air. I know the second half they haven't put points on the board, but still being able to do it through the air, that's the one thing Trinity doesn't do as well. And when a team like Trinity who likes to run the ball, you're going to be down 2 scores in the fourth quarter against a team like Southlake, it's almost impossible for you to come back. You're not built that way.
Yeah, I mean, everything I'm about to say is going to be piggybacking what you just said, and it literally is true. I mean, that's just not. They don't have the formula to score quickly, and at this point, that's what they need to do.
Yeah, and to start the second half, Trinity had an 11-play drive that went all the way to the Carroll 22-yard line, and unfortunately went for it on fourth down. Carroll got the stop. So that's what Trinity's going to do: a long, methodical move the football. And 11 plays, you milk a lot of clock, but if it comes away with 0 points,
all for naught.
Yeah, that's trouble. And credit to Southlake for being able to come in here. They only have 67 yards rushing on the day when this is a team that's really leaned on their running game for the most of the season, with Bowers at the quarterback position and then obviously TJ McDaniel. Well, they only got 67 yards rushing, but they still have over 300 yards of offense, and they've put up 21 points. So Carroll showing they can do it in a multitude of ways.
Looks like right now, just a quick update from that Carthage Midlothian Heritage. Landon Ledbetter just took a hit. He had a 12-yard run. It was 2nd and 20, and he ran it for 12 yards, but got hit, and he's hunched over, barely able to breathe right now. So we'll see if Ledbetter, he's still in the ballgame. He's fighting it out, being tough with it. But
he's taking a few big shots.
He's taken a couple earlier in this game. Oh, he got helicoptered. It was one of those it was the John Elway into the end zone, except it wasn't into the end zone. But he got up. He was a little shaken up, and I thought they were going to pull him off the field. He didn't. He's been fine. He's been the best quarterback in the game.
What a hit, though.
Yeah. What a hit. You ain't kidding.
Outstanding. Yeah, 3rd and 8 is where that is. Now, Southlake, Carroll, and you talk about that game in Trinity. I agree with the fact that you guys are looking at it from a standpoint of a team that's not built to score quickly, and that's exactly what Trinity is. That's a methodical working team. They are methodically moving down the field with 10:14 left in the fourth quarter. They're now into Southlake Carroll territory with a fresh set of downs inside the 40-yard line. So with a chance to try and make something happen, they just had a 23-yard pass to a last name that I am not going to try and pronounce. I promise you.
Oh, give it a whirl.
You really want me to?
Of course I do.
No, I mean, you can't even say Dune.
Is it Fanua? Is it Lockie?
It's done. So.
Oh, done? Or is it Dune, Kyle?
I don't even want to say it.
Fake Tonga?
Try it.
Is it Fake Tonga?
I guess. Yeah, that's the one that I'm looking at.
He's a beast. He's an absolute beast.
Incredible.
You know what will be interesting for me? If Trinity does go score here and make this a 1-score game, Southlake hasn't been able to run the ball all game, and when you have a 7-point lead in the fourth quarter, all you want to do is be able to ice the game, run the ball. Yes. They've been able to do it well all season. They haven't done it well tonight. Can they do that if this becomes a 1-score game, say with 7-8 minutes left?
You got to credit that Trinity defense for being able to shut down TJ McDaniels. Only 68 yards in the game as we continue to keep track of that one. The worst part about this week is the rain by far, because that Duncanville-Arlington-Lamar game is still in a rain delay and lots of things happening throughout the area in terms of rain. But Heckma, you were looking over there. Did you have something to add on the week so far and what you've kind of seen around the state?
What's in your heart? What's on your mind?
I don't know what that was. Come on. I don't know what that was.
What's really kind of throwing me off is just the fact that we're having rain delays at this point of the season.
Mm-hmm. And you've already taken full responsibility.
I am, but the thing is that the momentum that a lot of these teams have just let die in the locker room. It's like starting the game all over again, but now you only have a half to play, and so I'm really leery about some of these games, honestly. How are they going to?
We've seen how it's affected in the regular season, right? That Cedar Hill game,
absolutely,
when they lost, and yeah, you'd hate to see this in the playoffs. There's been Midlothian Heritage with the touchdown to go up.
So they start the scoring here in the overtime.
That's
period.
Ledbetter, man. Look at that rifle.
Good ball.
3-year starter, man.
Yep.
It's all come down to this. He should already be advancing.
49-42 now, that score, as Midlothian Heritage scores first. Now Carthage, you got to score or else the ball game's over. You got to score a touchdown.
Well, we know all they have to do is get to the half-yard line. They're going to count it.
Ooh.
Jeez, man, you just
throwing
shade. The refs. We'll get him in here to interview him after the game.
Yeah, please. Bring those zebras in there. I'll give them a piece of my mind.
Oh, I'm sure you would. I am sure you would. Man, so many games just in the middle of a delay right now. Euless Trinity, South Lake Carroll. I mean, there weren't a ton of games to look at to begin with because a lot of the games on Saturday, we've gone through all those games. Arlington, Lamar, Duncanville, that's a game I'm really disappointed right now. That is only at halftime and is still being delayed. It looked like for a split second that game was going to get back into motion, but as of right now, no change in terms of...
And as late as it gets into the night, they're going to have to make a decision.
Yeah.
You know, I know they want to try and make sure that they get this thing in, but eventually you've got to look at it and say, okay, you know, logistically, some of these teams have had to travel. What are they going to do here? Do they want to go ahead and postpone it, maybe play tomorrow? Some of these sites have other games that are scheduled tomorrow. Do they have to push it back to Sunday? What do you have to do in terms of potential rescheduling? I know all these games are going to try and fight as long as they can before they call it. They want to try and get it in, but this is absolutely a nightmare scenario. You hate to see this in a regional semifinal.
Yeah, you really do. And I do have a couple finals that we will go through here really quickly. Trinity Christian Willow Park takes down Flower Mound Coram Deo 13-7 as Mr. Beam has seen the last game of the 2018 season, unfortunately, so that game does come to a close. Of course, we're watching the 42-42 overtime game, which is now 49-42 in favor of Midlothian Heritage, that game being at the Star, so no rain issues there. Spring Westfield takes down Mesquite Horn 35-16 as Mesquite Horn's magical season, the Cinderella season, comes to an end. A final there as the Jags are through with 2018. So
that's a shame.
A little bit sad to see.
Had a chance to be storybook, you know?
You're exactly right.
And that was fairy tale. I mean, you can't write that in Hollywood. They lose 70% of their games, and then what? They go on a tear and win the state championship? No, that wasn't going to happen. But my gosh, they had a great end of their season. I mean, it was the toughest schedule you could ever imagine to start things off. You go 0-7. Jermaine Gibbons has been your guy, hasn't done much, and then boom, he turns it on. He's back to his old self, and he was one of the pretty much the main reason why they've been so dominant over the last month and a half. And then to come up short against that, but I mean, like you said, heck, I mean, you knew that team was a tough one to go up against this week.
Yeah, look, like when we go through all of these teams, like I told you guys, we do so much talking about our teams here in North Texas, we don't get a chance to see some of these other guys. But when you look at the Spring Westfield team, so big, so aggressive, so strong, coming after guys, you knew Horn was going to have a big-time problem. And I was talking about this kid, Rayshawn James. He is the difference maker. Like I said, he's a small guy, but you see him running behind his pads, and everything he's doing is going downhill. I'm disappointed for Mesquite Horn because, man, they have a really good defense, and those kids have played for each other. It's unfortunate, but I tell you what, the lesson that they can learn from it, whether they go on to play football in college or for some of these kids, that the kind of attitude that you need to have in life to be successful is not to get down when you're down, to look at what you can do to make it better, and that's what they did this season.
And no
they
team
have
has
a lot
shown that better than Carthage tonight as they score to make it a 1-point game in overtime.
Whew, that's incredible. They were down to a 3rd and 15 just before this. And
what just happened? I just started talking and it was.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
it was 3rd and 15.
24 made a clutch catch, and then
you look away for a second, then all of a sudden it's like, well, and things have happened here. But no, this is a heck of a game.
We'll keep it here just for a split second to be able to watch the extra point, make sure it goes through the uprights, and then they'll give a replay of what just conspired at the Ford Center. I think this has got to be the story of the night. One, the game of the night, just because of what has conspired, but also the fact that Argyle and Carthage, number 1 and number 2 respectively, in that 4A Division 1 poll at the end of the season, and both teams are being challenged right now inside their regional semifinal game, and not just challenged, but pushed to the test. 7:02 left in the Argyle-Salina game.
Are you telling me they're about to go for 2?
It looks like they're about to go for 2 here.
Do not go for 2.
They're in a huddle right now. It looks like they're talking it over.
I think they might end this game as of right now. I think this will be the game coming up here in just a moment. I was talking about that Argyle team. 3rd and goal now for Salina on the Argyle 5-yard line. 7:02 left in the game. They trailed 19-14. So lots of game left, but Salina looking to go in front here in the 4th quarter. Let's go back to the Ford Center. Of course, in the first overtime, and Carthage just scored a touchdown. It's 49-48. You see that up at the top of the screen. And it looks like
they're going for 2.
There's no way this is the conversation that they're having for an extra point.
No, they're going to go for it.
Well, and there's so much more than just a playoff game on the line. 38 wins in a
yeah.
row.
I mean,
for
they're going
Carthage.
for the three-peat. I mean, this is a Carthage team. Look, they're already, how many lives can you get?
Oh, yeah, baby.
I mean,
they're running them out.
It's huge.
They're playing for free. Now they shouldn't be in this game anymore. This game should be over.
It's true.
Why
Here
not
we go, though.
for it?
How about it? Had the 20 or the.
They're going to give the ball number 10.
You got
They
to,
might give it to him.
Yeah, he's been outstanding.
Or 17.
Watch
right
for
there.
some trickery here.
Nah, they're giving that ball to number
Caps
10.
under center, man in motion
Look at
for
Dixon.
the game.
They're gonna pitch it
Carthage
to Dixon.
Speed.
He got
it.
He got touchdown.
He got it.
and Carthage
Wow, what a game.
survives.
Yeah, I feel for Midlothian Heritage there. That's a game they should have. They won. They really did win that game.
So that's
But-
a Carthage.
Well, Carthage is. That's nothing new for them, right?
Hey,
That
man.
is-
The state's longest winning streak lives on.
Dude,
But you give the ball
that
to your
was
best
an
player there, right?
amazing game.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, that
definitely
has
the
been
game of the night.
amazing
Regardless of if
game.
these games had been able to play, we don't have the weather.
Yes.
This game was outstanding.
I mean, the defensive coordinator should be fired, but still.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But hey, you know what? Dixon has been the guy, without a doubt, all year long. But for Carthage, and they called his number there. You know, you give the ball to your best player, and he rewarded him. They go for two, a gutsy call.
You talk a lot about character in football and telling kids, you know, it's okay to show your emotions, but at the same time, during a loss, you want to be a respectable loser, right? These kids from Heritage have got to be TO'd.
There's a scene right now at the Ford Center, and until just about 5 seconds ago, Heritage had not moved. Like the sideline they had been frozen. It looked like you had taken a picture of the Midlothian Heritage sideline because stunned is the best word for it out of that
Yeah, that's a horrible call.
It really was. And we talked about it in the moment that at the last play of the game there was 1 second left and a 3-yard touchdown pass to win that game, or to tie the game rather, to Caden Holcomb from Gunner Caps, and it looked like from our vantage point and from anybody in the stadium rather that it was on the half-yard line. And that's a terrible way to look at a season, and I don't want to discredit Carthage because they played their hearts out as well into overtime. That's a hard-fought win. They did what they needed to do, but the call was the call. That can't be changed, and that's unfortunate because Carthage moves on and they'll end up going to that next round. But at the same time, it's a big what if for that Midlothian Heritage team because they played very well throughout the entirety of the ball game.
They did.
Their offense was amazing.
They were.
The 4 turnovers. I don't know if they ever punted. If they weren't turning it over, they were scoring touchdowns.
But it's the 4 turnovers, right? I mean, you can't turn the ball over 4 times against a team like a Carthage.
Yeah, you just can't do that. And you think of also the fact that Carthage was down in this game by at least 2 touchdowns on 2 separate occasions. They were down by 14 points at one point. They were down by 15 points at one point. And in both times, they were able to put up 2 back-to-back scores and get the conversion that was needed whenever they were down by 15 to tie it back up. So the resiliency was always there from the Carthage side. It was the fact that Midlothian Heritage, that's a frustrating win because I think that might be the first time they trailed in that entire ball game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Carthage did show a lot of heart, guys. Under these plays that they're replaying from the game. I mean, they were down. And they had to find the heart of a champion to come back because they were down at one point 21-6. And so getting back in this game, everything was an uphill battle for them to finally score. They 50 points, obviously, in overtime to do it. But still, they had to truly show the heart of a champion to get back in this game.
Yeah, they really did. And another team showing the heart of a champion right now is the Salina Bobcats. On the 3-yard line, 4th and goal, a 3-yard touchdown pass, Brady Cunningham, and the 2-point conversion.
Wow.
Puts Salina up 22-19 on Argyle, the number 1 ranked teams in the state.
And that's late in the 4th quarter.
2:45 left.
Argyle's going to get the ball back with a chance to win it, and that's all they can really ask for at this point. But how about Salina? Salina time, the real thing. This has been a completely different meeting here in the rematch than it was 3 weeks ago.
Well, they had it all started with them in the game versus Wilmer Hutchins. I mean, they were facing a lot versus Douglas Jr., and they overcame a very furious Wilmer Hutchinson team that everybody thought they were going to lose to. They roadkill in that, and they win that game by 1 point. They stomp on Stephenville, and here's this game versus Argyle, where if they pull this one out, guys, this is I don't know. That game next week, would it be Waco La Vega?
It would be, yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a game that both of these teams are going to be big.
And you look at the Carthage bracket as well, as they just moved on with that 50-49 win over Midlothian Heritage in overtime for a Division I Region 3. But they will take on a Henderson team that barely squeaked by in their game as well. So combined, out of those two regional semifinal games, a combined margin of victory of 2 points, because that Carthage Midlothian Heritage was 50-49, a little typo there. But other than that, an incredible matchup on the way for Henderson and Carthage coming up next week out of that same District 10.
Now, right now, we had about 6 minutes.
Yep.
We have so many games that are in a delay right now.
So many games. And you look at it in Argyle, Salina, that game's still going on. And with 2:45 left, Argyle has the football down by 3. But yeah, you're exactly right. Oh, Frisco Reedy and Burleson Centennial's back underway. So we got a little bit of positivity there. 6:39 left in the fourth quarter. Frisco Reedy leads it 27-7. Southlake Carroll just put up another touchdown score on Euless Trinity, 28-7 with 5:11 left in the game. And then also you've got Arlington, Lamar, and Duncanville. I just got a text from Major and Jagish. Apparently that game will get underway in the next 10 minutes. So that game should be back underway here in just a moment. But other than that, lots of games just being delayed. That Arlington, Lamar, Duncanville game, that's one of the games of the night that I had circled, I was looking forward to. It's a one-possession game at halftime, and with 24 minutes of game action left, there's only one score remaining, but the delay pushes it all the way back, guys. Just tough.
No, it is. There's nothing you can do about the weather, right?
Nope.
Mother Nature. And Southlake Carroll has also scored. They're up 28-7 now against Trinity. It looks like Carroll.
That's what I said.
You mentioned that. It looks like they're going to advance. And Reedy probably is going to advance as well, up to by 20 against Burleson Centennial. So we have a little bit of closure, maybe, as we end this show with those two games, but a lot up in the air. You know, with Arlington, Lamar, and Duncanville, a game we were excited about, Aledo and South Oak Cliff, maybe the most exciting game for us here with our ties to South Oak Cliff and how good Aledo has been all year. But, you know, at least we got a classic in Midlothian Heritage and Carthage, and we've got a great slate of games tomorrow. So it'll all shake out. It'll all be fine. But I think that the question mark going into the night, what happens now with some of these games that still are still in delay when you look at Lamar and Duncanville and Aledo and South Oak Cliff.
And the way you can keep up with that is follow us on Twitter. We still have reporters out at every game, Friday_stars. You can also follow us on Instagram, Friday Night Stars _, and then like our Facebook page as well. So go on and keep up with that. I'll be up all night. I'm going to be looking through all the scores. I'll post highlights as they come along.
Do you ever sleep?
I don't ever sleep, actually. Yeah, that's why I have the Red Bull. That's what that's what is my in place of it.
Hey, man, it's no raining on our parade. I mean, we're going to have plenty of to talk about next week because some of these games are going to play out after the fact, obviously. But, guys, these are good games. This Duncanville-Lamar game, this South Oak Cliff-Aledo game, there's going to be still plenty to talk about because at the end of the night, there's going to be something big happen. I mean, obviously, with the game we just saw here at the Star.
There's a legitimate chance that next week we see Southlake Carroll Duncanville. I mean, that already might be the game of the year.
Huge.
And then you look at Allen, the Woodlands. That's a game that happens tomorrow down in Waco. That's going to be a good game. Midway, Klein Oak, whoever advances out of that one will play probably Allen, you would think, unless the Woodlands have something up their sleeve. So classics there across the state. But overall, just an incredible look from everything going on in terms of I don't know. In terms of the regional semifinals, you can't rain on the parade, but you look at what's going on with Argyle and Salina. We've got 3 minutes left, and this game is getting really good. 1:15 left in the fourth quarter, 22-19. Salina up by 3 on number 1 Argyle. I don't know if I want to leave until this game goes final because we're that close. We might as well finish it off. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have anywhere to be.
No, I mean, I'm okay with it.
I'm good. I'm always down for more football.
They're fine.
I'm a football guy.
Chris is the one that just texted me and said, check the Salina game.
Okay, well then if Chris is down, I'm down. I'm always
Chris is
down.
totally down. So 1:15 left here in the fourth quarter. 22-19, Salina over Argyle. We even had the music playing and everything.
We can keep the music. I mean,
the music was kind of nice. But 2nd and 10, Argyle with the football on the 50-yard line. So they have the football, something left here. And did any of us, I don't think this was a pick'em game, because I think all of us probably would have picked Argyle in this, right?
Yeah.
Number 1 team, win streak on the line. I think Argyle was really the team to beat here. And Salina, who lost 63-21, what kind of turnaround would this be, Heckma?
Well, this would be a big turnaround to take down the man in the district, which would be Argyle. It would give them everything that they needed to propel them to a state title. That's just what I'm thinking about it. You look for those victories that a team can get in the course of a playoff series, and you're going to face a formidable opponent, and this is that opponent for Salina.
That Salina defense tonight has just been incredible to be able to do what they've done against Hogaboom and that Argyle offense that puts up tons of points every single week. They put up 63 against the same Salina team just less than a month ago. Yeah. And now they come out and Argyle can't even score 20 at this point. I mean, that Salina defense deserves a ton of credit. And they got, I mean, it showed in the last time they played, they put up 63 points against them, but they had 4 turnovers in that game. And so the defense is looking at it like, listen, we didn't really give up 63 points. You guys had 4 turnovers. I mean, my goodness, you didn't do us any favors. Well, today Salina comes out there, they take care of the football, they don't turn it over, and you see how good this defense plays when they're not getting put with their backs against the wall, drive in and drive out.
Drive in, drive out. Argyle has it now with an 11-yard pass to Tito Bryce to the 39 of Salina.
And they've already had to convert a 4th down on this drive at midfield.
And they just got another 7 yards on the Salina 32.
Hey, Bo, the junior quarterback.
Hogaboom.
This is your time, man.
47 seconds left. And unfortunately, we do have a reporter at this game. That's not the unfortunate part. The unfortunate part is we don't have the same capabilities that we did with the Ford Center.
Yeah, that's very, very seldom.
Very seldom. But we can look at this game and give you live updates as they come across from our reporters around the area. 32-yard line now for Salina, is 2nd and 3 on the way, and I think they only have 1 timeout remaining. I was told that a while back. I think that they had 2, and now I think they've taken another one since then. So, with 47 seconds left on the clock, Bo Hogaboom just ran for 7 yards.
And Dylan Carter, who's been the guy this year for Argyle at receiver, him and Bo Hogaboom have set records for most yards and touchdowns. He's been really quiet. Just 2 catches, 52 yards. It's been Tito Bice. And we talked about that 3-headed monster with Hogaboom, with Carter and Bice. And Tito Bice kind of gets a little bit overlooked because of how efficient they've been throwing the football. But Tito Bice has been the workload carrier tonight. 35 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. Only averaging 3.7 yards a carry, though. So, Eric, you talked about that Salina defense. They are making Argyle earn every single yard. And that includes this final drive here.
And Argyle's had 2 field goals tonight. They only need a field goal to tie. They've hit a 30-yarder and a 27-yarder. So they trust their field goal unit and their kicker, Grant Shaw. So all they need to do is get down there within about 30, 40 yards. They might have a chance to at least tie this thing.
Bo Hogaboom just got sacked for a -3 yards, 42 seconds and counting left on that clock in the fourth quarter. Argyle trying to fight to get back up to the line of scrimmage and make something happen.
Now, you said Argyle had 1 timeout
left? They have 1 timeout remaining.
And that's a big sack.
They probably just burned it if they got sacked.
Yeah, and they're trying to creep towards field goal range as well. So, that's a play there with the offensive line. And the offensive line for Argyle has been really good all year long, too. So, the Bearcats, Salina time, man. So
yeah,
Salina time for those Bobcats.
While we're waiting on that one to kind of turn around, let's look at South Lake Carroll and Trinity. South Lake Carroll just scored on top of that one again, 35-7.
Jeez.
As that game is continuing to move on in that one. But we've got Gavin Dunaway on the scene. I'm going to see if I can maybe get Gavin Dunaway on the phone and maybe see if we can get some live play-by-play maybe from Gavin. This is going to be a little tough, but we're going to see if I can maybe fix that up. But as that's being told, guys, kind of go through some of the finals, not only today, but just this week, and then also look forward to some of the other games that we have going on as well.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about Frisco, Reedy, and Burleson Centennial. That is one game that coming down, Reedy up 34-7. late in the fourth quarter. And then Carroll, we were just talking about the game a little bit ago. It was 21-7 just moments ago, and can TJ McDaniel and this South Lake Carroll team go ahead and grind it out in the fourth quarter? Well, the answer is clearly yes. 35-7. They've pulled away from Trinity, and that'll set up a matchup between South Lake Carroll and whoever wins this Arlington-Lamar Duncanville game, which Duncanville is up 14-6, but it's been on a weather delay for the past 2 hours at least. So, we'll see there. And then how does that affect, obviously if they have to reschedule that game, maybe a short week for the winner of Lamar and Duncanville could be an advantage for South Lake Carroll moving forward. And then right now, Aledo up 14-7 on South Oak Cliff. That game also in a weather delay. But the game of the night that we've been talking about here at the Star, 50-49, Carthage defeating Midlothian Heritage, a game that went to overtime. Controversial call there right before in the final play of regulation, where it seemed like Midlothian Heritage stopped Carthage short of the goal line.
They did.
They did. I agree. I 100% agree, but they called it a touchdown. Carthage goes for 2 in overtime. Dixon on a quick little sweep off the edge gets to the pylon, and Carthage, with the state's longest winning streak, they go ahead and survive. So an outstanding set of games. Obviously, we've talked at length about the weather and how that's played a factor as of right now. And then, Eric, I'm sorry, but, the Northwest Texans, a game that luckily kicked off at 4 o'clock. They were able to completely get it in. But
avoid the weather, yeah.
They fall to Lubbock Cooper 34-14. So it's still an outstanding year for the Texans. I think it was the first time in 50 years they'd won a district title.
We got an update.
I do have an update.
Oh, we got updates.
We got an update. Kyle's got that look in his eye. Oh, my gosh.
With 25 seconds remaining, Bo Hogaboom pass complete to Cole Kirkpatrick for 28 yards for a touchdown.
Ice in his veins.
Argyle and the Eagles lead it 26-22 with 25 seconds remaining.
Oh, man.
God.
Wow, Bill Elliott has got to be sick to his stomach right now.
They just haven't gotten any better, that Argyle team, and that's their problem. Argyle just
haven't gotten better.
Any better. Well, they got better as this game went
regardless on what happens here. Salina's going to have a chance to get the ball back, but they still have played a heck of a football game. I mean, they've pushed Argyle, I think, to limits that they've yet to be pushed to this season. And this, if Argyle comes out of this one with the victory, which it looks like right now they probably will, they're most likely about to be up by 5 if they kick the extra point. I think this is a great game for them. Instead of just cruising through, they get a game that's close. They're down. They have to come back. They have to fight. They have to grind. They've been just cruising, man. They've been beating teams by 40 points. They haven't played a close game since they last saw Paris, which was maybe in October. So it's been a while since Argyle's been tested, and going into a game against a very good Waco La Vega team that they narrowly beat by 2 earlier in the season, being able to survive against a quality opponent in Salina that has the track record and the history of tradition that they have, wow. Kudos for Argyle, able to advance. And this was the round they got knocked out last year by Stephenville. So as good as these Argyle teams have been in years past, they have struggled to make it to the regional final. So quite the accomplishment for Hogaboom, Tito Bice, and this Argyle Eagle program.
Wow.
Assuming they can hold on.
Yeah, I was about to say, crazier things have happened.
Absolutely.
And with 25 seconds, you've got a little bit of something you can take care of. And Carthage also has a timeout that they can work with here. Salina, sorry, not Carthage.
It's okay. We've talked a lot about Carthage.
Winning earlier, yes.
Easy mistake.
Salina, it has one more timeout remaining, so that game not over just yet. We'll wait till that one concludes to conclude our own show. That South Lake Carroll and Trinity game has a chance to go final here in just the next couple minutes as South Lake Carroll leads it 35-7. Trinity is in the red zone, or close to the red zone, I should say, on the South Lake Carroll 30-yard line, so a little bit closer there, but that game's effectively done because South Lake Carroll continues to impress. Frisco Reedy up 34-7 at the moment. Duncanville Lamar still not taken care of just yet. 14-6 at halftime, still in a delay, which is unfortunate. You can say the same thing about South Oak Cliff and Aledo. Those are two incredible games that, hey, I might go to. Y'all want to drive down the Midlothian? Right? You want to go head down the Midlothian, watch Aledo and South Oak Cliff? I mean, why not?
Let's do it
at the moment. But there's a couple extra games that are going on at as we speak right now. Argyle taking the lead with 25 seconds remaining, 26-22, 25 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Now, Salina just got the kickoff. They took it to the 41-yard line.
Whoa.
Salina 41, not the Argyle 41.
Still, though, I mean,
still a good field position. They need 59 yards in order to score and make something happen. They need a touchdown. Can't get a field goal here because the extra point was good, and they are trailing by a 4-point margin at the moment. So, man, it's crazy. Texas high school football never ceases to amaze, even in weather delays, doesn't it?
Never. There's always something to talk about when it comes to Texas high school football. That's why we love it.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is that you have these teams that you think are going to dominate and run away, and then all of a sudden you have a Salina that pops up. They have a 2-game winning streak. The confidence is on 10, and here they come. I mean, they've been in this game they really have dominated this game. It's unfortunate. If they lose it, it would be unfortunate because of the way that they played this game.
All right. We've got a final.
Yep.
As Salina ended up fumbling the football and Argyle recovered, time runs out, and the Argyle Eagles survive.
Whew.
They survive 26-22. It's a rematch between Waco La Vega and Argyle on the docket next week. Man, 4A has really kind of given us all the games we needed today with Midlothian Heritage and Carthage, and then Salina and Argyle. 2 incredible games inside 4A, but with that being said, a monumental matchup between 2 teams that don't like each other at all.
Not at all. 2 district foes. You knew there was a lot of bad blood, and Salina wanted to come and avenge that regular season defeat. They got mighty, mighty close. But Argyle, what a drive to go down the field. Bo Hogaboom throwing that touchdown pass, the game winner.
It's almost poetic, man.
Right?
It has to play out that way. I mean, literally, if for me, if
Poetic
Argyle
justice.
had been put out of the playoff, it just would have been a horrible thing, the way that they've dominated the season. So I'm really happy that Argyle gets an opportunity to go forward because, like we've talked about this whole show, man, every week when we're looking at Argyle and Bo Hogaboom, it's like, okay, they're winning by 40.
So with all of this being said, an incredible game from Argyle, coming back, showing the resiliency, scoring with 25 seconds left to win this football game, and they will face Waco La Vega. But I do have an update here from Guy Frazier. This is the way to end the show if I've ever seen one. So at the South Low Cliff Aledo game, this game being played at Midlothian and Midlothian ISD Stadium over there, apparently the decision had been made. Aledo and South Oak Cliff has just been postponed until tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Both coaches agreed on those terms. However, in the middle of the PA announcer, this is scripted out. This is exactly what the PA announcer said, according to Guy Frazier, one of our reporters. He said he paused and goes, wait a minute. The PA announcer came back on and said, moments later, it said, wait, on second thought, we don't know what we're doing yet. And instead, the decision is going to be to wait 20 more minutes and have that final decision 20 minutes.
Maybe they play tonight.
So they could play tonight, and they could postpone it until tomorrow morning.
They're like, dang, we got a big game at AT&T tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Big 12 championship.
We all want to make
There's
sure
no way we're missing that game.
Wait a minute. Nobody's missing that game.
Absolutely not.
No, Chase McClellan, he's one of the heavy recruits.
He's like, nobody's missing that game.
Sideline pass. I can't miss that one.
What are you talking about?
I'm not missing the Big 12 title game.
Gosh.
Rivalry, Texas OU.
The music is here, guys, for the second time.
Is it time?
That means Matthew Kent is ready
It's
to go
11-11, guys. We win overtime.
Overtime and overtime.
11-11, make your wish, boys.
Oh, my wish is that we get more high school football tomorrow. Oh, wait. We can do that. Hey, Heckman, can you real quickly tell me what the weather's going to be like next week?
Oh, it's going to be sunny, guys. 85 degrees.
I thought it was going to rain.
Yeah, you got to say the opposite.
I was just waiting on that look.
Oh, man. It's all your fault. That's what happened.
I got to reverse it because last week, come on, guys.
Okay, I hear it. Reverse psychology all the way.
By the way, that South Lake Carroll game just went final, 35-7. South Lake Carroll will take on the winner of Arlington Lamar and Duncanville. Foskey.
Reading
that
final
game
too.
Final as well, 34-7. That game also, as you look at it from the start, Carthage wins it in OT 50-49. Lots of games around the area tomorrow. Be sure to stay tuned on Friday_stars on Instagram at Friday Night Stars _ and then also like our Facebook page as well. We're sorry about the weather. We can't do anything about it, but we're glad you're with us on YouTube, Vimeo, Twitter, and Facebook. We'll be back next week, 5 to 7, 9 to 11. Friday Night Stars and Friday Night Stars Overtime, live from the Star in Frisco, For Fred Garner, for Chris Beam, for Matthew Kemp, for Chance Williams, for Eric Giafalo, Zach Wolchuk, and Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. This has been a presentation of Game On Sports. Thanks for watching, and good night.